Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Jalen Waddle agreeing to terms on a 3-year deal worth $84.75 million.
The Bills are going through their OTAs.
Mike Danger.
Completely unintentional.
You should own that.
This is how I've gone through my entire life. Just completely stumbling forward. I had no idea.
Gene Battaglia.
The wide array of topics here in the sports bar that we can kind of tackle.
The freaking New York Mets. We know the Mets are going to Met, and they pretty much metted as hard as the Mets could ever met.
I think I've been looking the worst team probably in the whole MLB.
CT scans on Pete Alonso's right hand and wrist reportedly came back clean. He's day-to-day with a bone bruise.
I think the Wolves are going to win tonight.
The Wolves?
I think the Mavs got 2 chances tonight and Game 6.
Bang! The T.N. Skidmore has given Edmonton its first lead of the night, shorthanded against his former team.
The Rangers and Panthers break their 2-2 tie at the Garden, 8 Eastern tonight.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Welcome on into the Sports Bar. Another afternoon of fantastic sports talk ready for you in the Flower City. Danger and Battaglia. Glad you're listening along at 95.7 FM, AM 950. The free-to-download Odyssey app, and on your smart device when you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan. Hell, we've even got our video stream up and live for you. You can watch the Sports Bar on our YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester, and also streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Fan Rochester. The sun is out. It's kind of brisk again today. It feels like a fall afternoon, but I love it. The energy is high. The vibes are immaculate.
Yeah,
Gino.
I came in a little later. Normally I'm here like around 8:30, but this morning had some things going on in the house, so I'm driving in, and I'm like, why is there a backup here on 490 heading? Oh, the Wings game. You know, they drew over $9,000 today.
11 o'clock first pitch this morning.
And they won. So that's
10
nice.
10 strikeouts, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and what's cool is where our studio is. If you're not familiar, where you see the parking garage, we're on the other side here. We call it the High Falls neighborhood. When I'm kind of walking outside, because so many kids were in attendance, you could just hear those high shrills there from a few blocks away.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We've got a fun afternoon of sports talk ready for you here. A couple of guests stopping by, and we'll talk some Buffalo Bills, and we'll talk some OTAs with the co-host of the Right Here, Right Now podcast from the Batavia Daily News. AJ Cebulski will be stopping by at 4:25.
You know, truth be told, Alex Brasky, I don't want him rubbing baseball stories in my face.
What baseball stories? Is there something going on?
We could talk about the Red Wings.
Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up.
Are we having fun? You happy?
Bring your kiddies. Bring your wife.
I woke up this morning to a text message, an actual laughter produced, thanks to Gene Battaglia. There's a chain between Gino, myself, and the icon, Mike Catalano. Yeah. And Gene just sent a message to the chain that just said, "You happy, Mike?" That was it. That was when I saw that. I'm like, oh, I laughed because I'm like, oh, here we go. Now you're inviting it. And of course he's not happy, because what makes Mike Catalano happy is watching the collapse.
Yeah, well, look, he texted us Saturday night, in fact. Like I saw this. Yes, Mike. It was over the weekend where you had the Met broadcast team lamenting the
terrible, right?
Yeah, and this was last week before even the Dodgers started doing their damage this week. And at the time, my text was trade everyone, including Alonso. So let's review yesterday.
Yeah,
okay, let's review yesterday. Well, your closer Diaz going on the injured list, and he's got some issues. Don't play this.
No Timmy Trumpet.
No, this hurts. It's like
it's not anymore.
Look. It is the song that reminds you of yesteryear when you were happy. Now I'm just miserable. And you're reminding me of times when I was happy. This isn't going to matter anymore. I still have like this foam trumpet on my desk because our guy Frank, his son, actually is a scout for the Mets.
Yeah.
And he's a sales guy. And Brian Stamsky, if you know him, Webster Thomas product. He gave it to me. I'm like, my gosh, this is really cool. So I have it up in my queue, but now I look at it and it just kind of makes me sad. So
single tear goes down your eye.
That was strike one. Then I said trade Pete Alonso. Well, it's kind of hard when he's not playing. He got hit in the hand yesterday, and he's not in the lineup today. So we're not sure about the status of Pete Alonso. And then I swear to you, I wasn't watching last night, Danger. I was not watching. Like the Dodgers are in control of this game. The stadium's empty. And the reliever on the mound starts jawing with the third base umpire. The third base umpire had enough and throws him out of the game.
Yeah.
And I would think that for Jorge Lopez, that, look, just let bygones be bygones. Just move on. Just walk off the mound. You weren't winning this game. You were down by 6 anyways. Like, what did it even matter what you were talking about to the umpire? I can't even defend, his actions here. So he gets ejected. Manager comes to get him. And then as he's walking to the Met dugout, which is on the first base line, he tosses his glove into the stands. Mind you, this isn't 2010. They have the protective netting up there. So you really have to wind up and throw it right over.
He's a pitcher. He's got a good arm. Probably get it over there. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. And then you have Keith and Ron and Gary saying it's a new low point, basically. Like, yep, nope, that's not the low point.
No. This might be the low point.
Just to clarify what you said, just because I didn't fully understand. Did you say I'm on the worst team? Is that what you had said?
Yeah, probably. It looked like.
And that they were embarrassed by you? Is that what you...
Yeah, they did.
Looking for clarity from the original comments made when asked about throwing the glove. Do you have regrets of throwing the glove into the stands?
Carlos Mendoza said that he understands the emotion, but that particular action of throwing your glove into the stands was unacceptable. Looking back on it, do you regret doing that?
No, I don't regret it. I think I've been looking the worst teammate probably in the whole MLB. So, whatever happened. So, whatever they want to do, I'll be tomorrow here if they want me. Whatever they want to do. So. I'm gonna keep doing this thing, so I'm healthy on whatever, on whatever to do, I'm ready to come back tomorrow, and if they want me to be here, so I'll be here.
Minutes after his cut.
Yeah,
cut.
They don't.
Cut. Now, here's a lesson, kids, and I tell my 17-year-old this all the time. Enunciate your words. Speak clearly. This is a basic skill in life, because now people are breaking down, and his agent and everybody else, he didn't say he was on the worst team in baseball. He said he was the worst teammate in MLB. I'm like, okay. Yeah, now we're kind of stretching there.
Not that it matters. He still threw a glove, which is the whole reason why you're even having this conversation.
And like, giving it out. Do you regret it? No.
He doesn't regret it.
No. Oh, okay. We're going to act like a child coming off.
To the Mets' credit, they did the right thing. They could have, disciplined him or held. No, he's gone. Yeah, we don't need this guy. He's gone. So I guess that's a positive, Gino. I don't know. I'm trying to see the bright side to this. I don't know that there is one, but he's gone. Those antics don't fly, and then to double down when pressed about it, yeah, I'm probably the worst team that in Major League Baseball. Wow.
So back to the text that you had actual laughter was produced, because I figured, all right, let me take.
You were trying to be preemptive.
Yes,
you thought
of course.
that. You thought that See, I don't think Catalana was going to reach out to you about this. I do think Catalana gets more pleasure out of watching the Mets compete and then the inevitable collapse.
Well, this was Catalana's. Can I do my Catalana voice, or would that be offensive? Like, not at all. You guys being a dumpster fire in May takes away all the enjoyment. Now even your own players recognize how bad it is. I miss the good old days when you guys were just irrationally happy at the most inappropriate times. So to which I'm trying to like use a word that's way beyond my vocabulary. Philly fans full of Schadenfreude. You know what Schadenfreude is?
Basically, you're a fraud.
No, it is the German word for taking pleasure in the demise of others.
Oh! I'm thinking of what's the thing where you look like. I'm thinking of doppelganger. I don't know why I'm thinking of
right.
Another German word. I don't know. Okay, never mind.
Never mind.
Okay, so
that
I don't know that you needed to fire back. I think you put it out there, happy Mike, and he gave you the appropriate response. No, I'm not happy. I'm much more happy to see you in misery at the most inappropriate time. Like, yeah, it's Gee, I don't know where we go from here if you're a Mets fan. You're probably not. You're not even hate watching anymore.
No, because this made my choice. I'm not even watching, honestly. Like, because we've all been caught here in this day and age of streaming. I have Fubo, and right before the season started, Fubo decided to switch off the Mets and go over to the Yankees, which I was pretty upset. But you know what? I need the Sabres. I was continuing to watch it, and I was finding alternate means. And now this is probably good for my own health.
Yeah.
That I just kind of take a half step back from this team. It doesn't make me less of a fan, does it?
So AJ is on today because you didn't want to hear it from Brasky. So instead of hearing it from Brasky, the Yankee fan, we invite AJ in, who you believe in his inaugural visit to the sports bar.
He will not come up.
He will tread lightly.
Yeah.
He won't go after you.
What to expect?
He's not going to bust your balls.
Is like, texting him right now. Go after Gene. Go after him. Go after him. Oh, by the way, yes, and Brasky texted me last night. Something happened, Gene? I will admit it. I will bust balls too. I will do that. And so now it's coming around. And I thought people would let their foot off the pedal. They are not, apparently.
Later this hour, in fact, about 15 minutes or so from now, we'll be joined by the co-host of BetMGM Tonight, one of our favorites. It's been a second since we've talked to Trista Crick. We've got a Game 5 tonight in the NBA Western Conference Finals. Minnesota looking to make a series of this, now down 3-1, and looking to make it 3-2 with a win tonight. We'll try to get Trista's take on that. We'll also let's talk to Trista about the LeBron and the Bronny thing that's going on here, because Trista's got her finger on the pulse of the NBA.
Yeah, is it really the two teams? Because that's kind of the read on it, right? It probably is like, I'm only going to work out for the Lakers and the Suns. Check that. LeBron telling Bronny to say, I'm only going to work out for the Lakers and the Suns. Does that mean it's true? Because I don't know. I also consume Philly sports talk, and they keep bantering about what that roster would look like
with LeBron.
Mm-hmm. And could LeBron take a little bit of the pressure off? And that would be interesting. But are there other destinations? And I also want to ask Trista, because she does talk in New York there too, about the Knicks. Like, this was a fun year for the Knicks. This was a year that you met expectation, but funny thing about that, the expectations are going to go up next year, and the Knicks have this pension danger for doing the wrong thing in the offseason.
Yeah.
Whether it's spend money or make a dumb trade, can the Knicks, with Leon Rose, they should be doing smart things, but we'll get Trista's take on this coming up. Trista Crick, you heard on BetMGM Tonight. She was not the one on the show, by the way, who called me Mr. Krabby Ass.
No, that was Horvat.
Yeah.
But they do a great job, and their show is always fun. It's informative. It's entertaining. And if you listen intently, you'll get some winners. Trista will share some of her thoughts on tonight's Western Conference matchup between the Mavs and the Timberwolves coming up here in about 10, 15 minutes or so. You can pull up a stool and join us at 866-4326, 585-866 4FAN. I don't know if you heard this or not, Gino, but our guest yesterday, Bill Ryder, I guess talked a little bit about us during his show today. Dan DeLorean left this for me.
All right.
I haven't heard this yet.
I didn't hear this either.
All right, let's hear what Ryder had to say about his visit yesterday.
I was on with our friends in Rochester yesterday. We're on the air. It was a really fun interview. I really like those guys, and it was a good time. But I obviously have said the Bills' window is closed, and they don't love that in Bills. I understand, and so very nicely they brought it up, and they mentioned that there's a promo of me saying this that I guess that the host, he's like, Bill, I can do it by memory. I've heard it so many times. So I'm trying to get our hands on it because I want to hear. Now, you put this together originally?
Oh, yes. I know. I have the raw version. I don't know if they put some bells and whistles on this promo, but I remember for a fact this Bills promo that they're talking about.
But this is from a couple years ago.
Oh, this is. I'm surprised they're still running it. But I love that story.
I do too. I like being on with those dudes. I like, and I gave them the wrong phone number. So, Gene, I'm sorry. I felt really bad. I was in the car getting my son when I saw the message. I was trying. I did not almost hit an SUV because that would be irresponsible. But I did definitely. It was hard getting it's hard to type when you drive, which is why you never do it. And I didn't do it yesterday.
Glad to hear that.
Thank you. I'm like, where's shouldn't they have called by now? I felt really bad. You know what's closed? Not the Bills window. Bills' understanding of how to use phones. That's what that window's closed.
He was great. That was a lot of fun. D-Cell being surprised that we're still running it all these years later.
Hey, right. I'm surprised too. It's like
it's evergreen material.
Right, because you hear it and it's talking about Josh Allen doing it himself, and that is what we've been saying all along. And now that the cap figure has gone up, to say that the Bills' window is closed, it's one of those, you don't know what you're talking about. And then you think about it, it's like, you don't want to face that.
It's not dated material. Like, it'd be dated material if Ryder in that promo was talking about Diggs, or if he was talking about not the offensive line not being good. No, he's talking about the same thing that we're talking about now, which is Josh Allen having to do it all and inevitably, won't be able to do it all because there's just not enough there.
And for any future guests too, like, don't text and drive. I don't want to be
Giglio got into an accident when he was on with us one time. Remember that?
I remember that. Yeah, but that wasn't. It was just somebody rear-ending him, and we heard the impact. He's like, "I got to go, guys." And then you and I were actually very concerned.
It was
about
live
that.
on the air. Yeah. Whoa, what just happened? And he told us after the fact, like, I got rear-ended. It wasn't anything that he did.
No.
But glad Bill didn't get in an accident, and that was very nice of him to share some kind words about his visit with us yesterday.
Wow, he likes us.
Yeah, well, he's a good guy. And you know what? What I love about the way we work with our guests is, we want to give you the information in a fun and entertaining way. And a lot of us take this very, very seriously. And that's fine. We take it seriously too, but that seriousness isn't necessarily going to come out. We're not angry to do this job. We're excited to do this job. We have fun doing this job. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, we're going to talk to a guy like Bill Ryder, who does he's a journalist. The guy is a very good writer, and he's got his finger on the pulse of the NBA. He knows what he's talking about.
He's got sources. He's out in LA.
Does his 2 hours every day nationally. For him to come on and spend some time with us, let's have a little fun. I mean, we're all working towards the same thing here. We're all trying to share the information in a unique and creative way that hopefully you find to be entertaining. So that was fun having him on with us yesterday and hearing him talk about us today. That was good.
He's right, though. I've heard the promo so many times that your window's over. It's over. It's over. And there's nowhere for Josh Allen to turn. Righter than you.
Yeah. And, hopefully you... Despite him saying that the window is closed, you listen to him every day from 10 to noon. It's a good show. He does a good job. And D-Cell knew exactly what he was talking about. It's like, yep, I remember that. Can't believe they're still playing it all this time. It hasn't aged. It hasn't aged out yet. It's still relevant. It's still on point. All these months later.
We'll get our producer on that.
Yeah, we'll work on getting that updated soon. What else do we have going on? Oh, yeah, we should mention just big bit of NFL news. Jalen Waddle getting a deal done, an extension done with the Dolphins. Dolphins still haven't taken care of Tua. You imagine at some point here when Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase get paid that Tyreek Hill is probably going to want a reworked deal as well. These are let's call these the problems of a team that rosters high-priced talent. I mean, like, no question that Jalen Waddle is talented. No question that Tyreek Hill is talented. The Bills don't have this issue right now because the guy that was talented that you put in that category got shipped off to Houston.
Is there anybody on this roster? I guess it's Rousseau, which that doesn't seem like this is the appropriate time to have that conversation, does it not? You want to see more from Greg Rousseau before you hand him some dollars. For so many years with the Bills, as they were kind of ascending, who gets paid next? It's Tre'Davious White. It's going to be Steph Diggs. Oh, it's Ed Oliver. Like, all these guys.
That's a problem, though, isn't it?
Yes.
That's an issue.
Yes.
Like, that's an issue with your guys are good, just good enough.
Well, it normally is your first-round pick, and it's good enough you're going to pay. Okay, they missed on Kyer Elam. I know, and we'll talk to AJ next hour about this. Kyer Elam, he looks really great, and he's the Kyer Elam redemption tour.
Sure.
I'm sorry. He's lucky if he's the fourth corner on this team. Like, that is a miss. So I guess indirectly that's going to save you money because I'd rather have these problems. Like, oh my gosh, we have to pay so-and-so.
Yeah. Well, this is an extension for Waddle and the Dolphins. that essentially makes him, if you look at the contracts and compare it to the other highest paid receivers, it really just kind of puts him behind A.J. Brown in terms of new money average, $28.25 million in new money average, which puts him just behind A.J. Brown. When you trim the fat behind Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown's contracts, what you really have here is Jalen Waddle being a top 5, paid as a top 5 wide receiver. And again, that probably changes here as the season gets closer when you look at deals that are going to be made for Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in Cincinnati as well.
Remember, it's Tua that gets to be paid, but they still need to work on Jalen Phillips and Javon Howland in Miami too.
Jeez.
So, I look at the Dolphins, I'm like, wait a second, how could you have all these cap problems where you let your best defensive lineman walk out the door in Christian Wilkins, and you haven't paid your quarterback yet?
Yeah, that's going to be a continuing storyline here to monitor to see just how they make that happen and what they're waiting for here with Tua getting that extension at some point, you would imagine. Let's get to Trista Crick. We'll talk some NBA. She's the co-host of the BetMGM Tonight Show. You can hear that weeknights here on The Fan Rochester. Do a great job. And of course, the Heat Check podcast, she does a ton of NBA. And I want to get her thoughts on Game 5 tonight between the Wolves and the Mavericks, and talk a little NBA offseason as well with Trista. That's next on The Fan Rochester.
You're listening update.
It's Game 5 between Dallas and Minnesota. A win for the Mavs, and they're going to go back to the finals for the second time in franchise history. Head coach Jason Kidd was on that other team. He's the head coach now. What needs to happen tonight?
We got to figure out how to slow these guys down. We got a responsibility, we got a job to do, and that's, to find a way to win in Minnesota. This is a great opportunity for us as a young team to go through this. This is a new group going against one of the best teams in the league.
Over 9,000 in attendance for the Wings game that started at 11 o'clock today. Rochester winning 6-3 over St. Paul. The Wings now 2 games above 500 on the season. On the Major League scoreboard, Brewers and Cubs tied at 4. They're in the 8th. Twins are up on the Royals 7-4 in the bottom of the 8th. Rays trailing Oakland 4-3 in the 9th. Yankees are in Los Angeles tonight. Gene Battaglia, the Fan, Rochester.
The beer is cold and the wings are hot. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
I think we just have a lot of guys that believe and that want to win. And obviously when you're on the brink of getting eliminated from your goal, from your dream, sometimes maybe the urgency and everything else is at a higher level.
Minnesota big man Rudy Gobert. Big Game 5 tonight in Minneapolis as the Timberwolves look to stay alive and advance that series to 3-2 with a win tonight. Dallas coming in. Wanted to get Trista on to talk a little bit about the Western Conference Final. We're struggling to get in contact with her, so we can call an audible here at the line of scrimmage, Gino, and see if Trista can get a hold of us here at some point.
Yeah, so I said just send her a note here. So, if we can connect with Trista at some point, we will today.
For sure. Let's discuss the other another story that is kind of emerging that is NFL related, and more specifically NFL consumer related. There's a chance that if you're a subscriber to the NFL Sunday Ticket, that you might be in line for a little chunk of change coming your way. Gino, what do we know about this?
Yeah, so this is it's a lawsuit, Danger. Okay,
class action lawsuit.
Yeah, and so in a settlement. I'll read this here. The NFL most valuable, millions of people buy the Sunday NFL Ticket, blah, 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 blah. The antitrust lawsuit is set to go to trial next month. Claims that the NFL and its partners, formerly DirecTV and now YouTube, structured the Sunday Ticket in violation of antitrust law. What does this mean, Danger? Well, the way that they bundle the package, that if I am a Cowboy fan, why do I have to buy everything else? It never even crossed my mind that would be, antitrust. But if you compare it to other sports, perhaps if this goes through, you're talking $6 billion in damages. People could get a refund of $2,500. Now, this lawsuit goes back all the way to the year 2015. Which this has been out there, and if the NFL has its way, they would kick it down the road. But let's just imagine a world where the NFL settles this, which they don't want to settle this, and here's why. If they settle this and you could only buy your favorite team directly from that team, you don't think Jerry Jones would love that? For you, the Cowboy fan in Rochester? Or for you, the Giant fan, the Mara family would like to just kind of sell to you directly and not have to share with everybody else. The secret sauce to the NFL is this. They create this illusion that everybody's got an equal chance because of the salary cap and all revenues are shared. And when you're in, you're in. That's why Buffalo has a chance to compete with New York and Los Angeles and Dallas. Where, as a consumer, you'd be nodding your head saying, yes, I want this to kind of, go away. I would want a refund. As a Bills fan, this is the last thing you would want. A small market team to go to the model, say, that baseball has. Ironically, baseball's trying to go,
Well, one of the questions I had about this is, why is it the NFL that's being targeted in this antitrust lawsuit? Because doesn't Major League Baseball and the NBA and NHL do all the same thing?
Correct. So this is Tyler Webb as a reporter pointing out this is the same model that the NBA and MLB use. And I guess we could assume the NHL.
Yeah.
So
the center ice package.
Yeah. So it's going to have testimony from starting June 5th in this trial. Goodell, Jones, Kraft.
What could ultimately this lead to? Because I struggle with the idea or the notion that every NFL team would create their own network that you would then buy into or subscribe to in order to get your team's games if the Sunday Ticket is dissolved. I don't think that I'm trying to figure out where the case is here. I'm trying to figure out how they're going to beat the NFL and in turn then the Major League Baseball package and the NBA package.
Right. I don't know if this is a slam dunk.
Right.
This is like if you're kind of projecting, this would be. I'm giving you the best case scenario for the plaintiffs in this. That if they win this judgment, then everybody who's bought either DirecTV or now YouTube over the years would get a refund. But I can't imagine. Here's the one thing, and this is a common theme with our show. Okay, the NFL has the best lawyers you can imagine. Things that you would have thought would be bigger than this would have taken down the league didn't even happen. Concussions. I thought we would see a much different game. I thought we would have unbelievable settlements. Nothing happened.
Well, they did settle. I mean, there was a settlement, but they made it go away.
They made it go away. Colin Kaepernick, what happened there? They made it go away. Yeah. St. Louis, they're guilty as heck.
Yeah.
In fact, the LA Ram owner, Kroenke, he sold the rest of his owners up a river and let them deal that internally. Okay, St. Louis, here's your check. Sorry, we took the team away from you. Like, they're that rich and that powerful that would I expect some sort of settlement at some point out of this? Maybe, and everybody gets a small little refund? I don't think that's going to be the case because you don't want to admit any guilt whatsoever. You don't want to break up this model.
Yeah, it's a model that, and that's the other thing. Like, why was the suit brought just in 2016? This is a model that's existed for decades now. The Sunday Ticket's been a thing for a while.
Yeah.
So why all of a sudden is this? I mean, because they raise the rate, because as everything gets more expensive around you, they are also raising the rate of what you pay for the Sunday Ticket? Doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. If you offered me a cheaper, more affordable way to just watch my team, I would listen. I don't currently subscribe to the Sunday Ticket. I did for years. And when I knew my team was going to be bad for a long time, I canceled. And I don't know what tomorrow looks like, but maybe tomorrow comes a day where they can say, yeah, everybody can buy their own team a la carte. What would that be worth? What would you charge for that? What would you pay for that? My guess is you would pay
$9.95 a game. Like, why would you have to pay for the whole season? Like, why couldn't you just do like pay-per-view like the rest of the world? Why does this have to be a package that is artificially marked up? That's the point. Like, if I want to buy a pay-per-view movie at home, that maybe I'll do this once a month. Okay, I'll spend the $5. Mm-hmm. Not spending I'm not spending $200 a month for to get this package of movies. But you could say, well, you kind of do that with Netflix or whatever. Okay, I'll hear you on that, but I don't know if there's a case here. I just don't. But this is one of those lawsuits that we're going to be kind of tracking here.
They got to one of our regulars. Peter sent us an update on X earlier today. I don't know if you saw this or not,
yes,
but I did get this in my email. And if you were like me, you subscribed to Peacock for maybe a month, the month that the Bills were in there, and then now you've got the retention emails coming every day from Peacock saying, "We want you back, we want you back." And Peter sharing, "I'm not a representative of Peacock. I know how much we don't like having multiple streaming networks, but $19.99 for the whole year, not a bad price for the NFL games." They got you, Peter.
Yeah.
They hooked you. Look at you, falling for the $19.99 bit. I don't know. What will I do? I will probably do what I did already. I will do it again. All right, let me just subscribe for a short amount of time and then cancel it.
I tell you, like, you get some, but then it's also fun just to go out. Order some wings or some nachos and watch a game. Like that, honestly, like I'd rather spend my $50 that way and the game is on and having a good time with some people.
Mm-hmm.
There's the other way you can kind of do that.
Yeah. Well, that's worth monitoring and paying attention to, seeing what actually, if anything, comes from that. The Sunday Ticket is an institution. I mean, like, you're a football fan, you're familiar with it. Many of you subscribe to it. And if that changes or if there's a settlement because of the way they've priced it, I struggle with it. I struggle with what they're going for here, and then I wonder what it means for the other leagues that have packaged their games in a similar way in the NBA and Major League Baseball, NHL.
Well, there's another story. It's not a story, but this is actually some audio here, and bear with me, Danger. This coming across this afternoon, and Adam Schefter retweeting these comments, and we've been talking about how the new kickoff rule is going to be something that is going to catch a lot of fans off guard.
Honestly, I don't think we've talked about it enough.
Yeah, I think it is the biggest change in the sport since we had the 2-point conversion. You get even more. Like, it is going to, and we've said all along, the team that kind of cracks the code on this is going to have such a superior advantage. Now, there is one team here. Who would be that team, Danger, that we would be very wary of? Well, I'll give you a hint. They have a really good place kicker, and he made kicks against the Bills. And their punter, we're very familiar with him. He spent some time in Buffalo. I'm talking about the Chiefs, and they're coming up with this idea. Their coordinator, Dave Taub, says he doesn't want Butker on kickoffs. That they're actually thinking about using safety Justin Reed to kick off the ball. And therefore, because, well, think about this. If you get beyond the first level, boop, you're gone with just the kicker. You don't want your kicker getting hurt. That, and also if you get by, you actually want somebody that can actually make the tackle and stop the play.
Interesting.
So could we actually have, this is like high school football, like non-kickers out there just to act as the 11th defender?
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, you talk about every player having a specialty on special teams, right? Like, if Butker's specialty is he's going to hit field goals, why risk hurting him on a kickoff if you have somebody else like a Justin Reed who can accomplish what you want Butker to accomplish on the play and actually be better at tackling? He's a better player, better suited player for the play on the field than the kicker. I think that's smart, actually.
Yeah, because do you really need the kick to go high?
No.
No, you just need to place it.
You don't need hang time. You just need placement. That's right. And you could hit it from different angles. You could squib it. You could do a lot of different things. And I think that that's actually really smart.
So what I would say here is, you know what's not smart? Talking about this if you're a special teams coordinator in May. Wouldn't you think you would keep your mouth shut? I'm surprised. This guy
I don't know.
invented. No, like honestly,
I don't know. I just here's what I think. We're going for our third straight championship. You want to try and stop us? Best of luck. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with this guy divulging his team secrets.
Yeah.
If Justin Fields is back there with Cordero Patterson for the Steelers, and because they've said, hey, maybe Justin Fields can return kicks. Now, Fields has said, I don't want to return. That's not what I'm here for. Hey, buddy, if that's your way on the field and, you may not be here for that, but if you can help us win games and you say no to that, you're not doing yourself any favors as far as a future in the Steel City. I think I think it's the wild, wild west when it comes to this play, that nobody really knows what they're going to do or how they're going to do it until they actually get to doing it. The preseason is going to be interesting because of this play.
Yeah, and because the preseason, how many of these guys get all that time? Special teamers are usually the 50th, 51st, 52nd, 53rd guys on the team. You really have to identify your core group right off the bat and get them to work in all these preseason games. We're going to know. Because of that reason, special teams were always kind of no. You're going to have to know who your guys are, again, right off the bat. And I'm also going to make another prediction when it comes to this rule, and it's this, that you're going to have some games where you might have 3 kickoffs return for a touchdown, and people are like, this isn't football. This isn't right. We need to go back to the other way. Because you know who's going to say that? A team that gets burned by this. So is Matthew Smiley, are the Buffalo Bills equipped for this? And I'll just point out something. At least they recognized they needed to overhaul things. Like Saran Neal isn't here anymore. Tyler Matakevich not here anymore. I don't know who this core group is going to be kind of moving forward. I think probably Eddie O. The fifth rounder from Washington. Olofocchio, is that how it is? That might be a guy that you can build around, certainly, but I would think that Buffalo, with Sean McDermott being on the competition committee, should have a leg up here on everybody else when it comes to this role.
I'll drink to that next in the sports bar. We've got some takes on tap. And one of my favorite guys in sports, one of my favorite sports personalities, Dave Damashek, proposed an idea that I wanted to run by you, Gino.
Mm-hmm.
His idea is that you ditch the traditional halls of fame as they are right now for each individual sport, and you create a one-location, all-time hall for all. So a hall of fame showcasing the best from every sport all in one location, and your inaugural class has 25 athletes in it.
You are inviting baseball writer in to talk about the Hall of Fame, and he loves that conversation.
Well, if he wants to join us from high atop his perch on Mount Pius, he could certainly join the peasantry down here. I do have some thoughts on who I would bring in from the major league class in the hall for all, and I'm sure baseball writer will take offense.
We were talking just now about that lawsuit between people saying, "Hey, we want a refund here for our Sunday ticket," and where that may go.
I'm looking for damages.
I think there's actually two other lawsuits that are kind of hanging out there, and both have a next step. And these are stories that but we'll tell you where things kind of stand here in two individuals going after the NFL. I'm going to say this in advance. I think one will go away. The other, I don't know where this one goes, and that's interesting to me. Also, Bill Ryder bringing up a topic today on his show, and I think we can kind of bring it up. They had a draft danger. Who would be the team you would select in a draft amongst the teams in the NFL that did not make the postseason?
I like that. All right, we'll get to that. I'll drink that. Some takes on tap, and time for your calls if you want to join us as well at 866-4326.
You're listening to the Sports One Bills Live in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. Weekday afternoons on The Fan, Rochester.
I'm going to sue John Gruden. I'm going to sue Stephen Jones. Suing everybody. Jeremiah Trotter.
Are you going to sue the officer down in Valhalla for the $80 pair of pants?
Yes. Oh, he ruined my pants. My shoes fell off. And I broke my glasses. I just want what I deserve. I'm looking for punitive damages. I'm suing everybody.
If you're new to the show, I'm telling you, Mike Danger is not a jerky boy.
No.
At least that's what he tells me.
Welcome back in. It's time for I'll Drink to That. We've got some takes on tap.
There are two other lawsuits still surrounding the NFL, still hanging out there. One concerning John Gruden. You'll recall the story. Gruden losing his job as the head coach of the Raiders when emails are leaked out dating back to Gruden's time as the commentator with ESPN, and these emails turned up in the investigation with the Washington Commanders into the conduct of Daniel Snyder. Well, how did they come out and everything? Well, I don't know if that's... The bottom line is that Gruden knows his career is over, and it's hard to come back from something like that. So he's seeking monetary damages because, well, the NFL put those emails out there for a reason. The court date is coming up July 30th.
I'll always go back to, sorry to interrupt, always go back to what our favorite, what Musburger said when this story broke. Because I believe what Musburger is saying here is 100% the truth.
First of all, as I told Coach, whoever took you out, John, that was a paid assassin, okay? That was one of the best hit jobs that I've ever been around, okay? They didn't go to their media goombas. They didn't leak this to Adam Schefter. Or one of those guys who breaks stories. They first went to the Wall Street Journal. And when Gruden was still coaching after that, then they dumped the rest of it on the New York Times. That was a professional hit job, but I want to tell everybody that I'm not completely sure it was somebody in the NFL. There was a second lawsuit involved, okay, between the owner, Snyder of Washington, and a former general manager. And that means that a lot of outside people had access to those emails.
I think that when the Commanders' investigation, when we started to learn a little bit more about the layers of what was going on there, do you remember the shadowy figure that worked with Jay-Z that was somehow involved with the Commanders?
Yeah.
She had something to do with those emails getting out. If I remember correctly, I want to say that she somehow got word of these emails or got her hands on these emails and used them as leverage to get what they wanted, which was a bigger, piece of whatever the NFL is putting out.
See, my interpretation was if you wanted to make an example of one organization, who is the weakest of the 32 owners? At the time, and you could still say this, is Mark Davis.
Yeah.
Mark Davis with a weird haircut. Why are you here? Like, he's the outcast. Okay, we'll give you Vegas. There you go. And, we need a sacrificial lamb here. Yeah, we're cleaning things up here. We're the NFL. We're against racism. And look at this. And like every team has something like this.
Sure.
I mean, there's no doubt. So
you don't have to look far. Oh, you don't have to look far. If you're a Bills fan, you don't have to look far.
Well, brings us to the other lawsuit. I wanted to bring this up because there's news on this week. The case surrounding former NFL media, ergo NFL Network reporter Jim Trotter. That's ongoing, and it's certainly interesting, Danger. Trotter is suing the NFL for racial discrimination. He filed a complaint that accuses Jerry Jones and Bills owner Terry Pegula of making racist comments.
Aha.
That case is moving ahead. Trotter, by the way, is doing just fine. Unlike John Gruden, who I don't know where he's going with his career, if anything. Trotter got hired a few months later by The Athletic. He is working in the business today. And look, I am not going to repeat what was allegedly said on the Zoom call. Many reasons why I'm not going to repeat it. One, I don't know it's true. And number two, I know some of you half listen sometimes, so I don't want to get accused of quoting something like that.
Some of the words of Pegula and Jones on the Zoom call.
Allegedly, yeah. So what's next?
Yeah.
We could say, Danger, let's see if this gets settled. But this is where I have my doubt on this. My read on Trotter is that he's going altruistic on this. He experienced things. He's a reporter, and he wants to expose. He wants the big story here.
Yeah, except for one thing. Everybody has a number, Gino. If you're Jim Trotter, you're righteous and you want to expose the NFL for what you believe is injustice. But what's it going to cost? Like, what if the NFL says, you know what? Let's just, like we were talking about earlier, let's just make this go away. What's that number?
Haven't they already done that at this point?
No. I think that's the last resort.
Yeah.
Them parting with their money, large sums of money, is always the last resort.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that, and Florio pointed this out too, like this is how buttoned up the NFL usually is, that if you're an employee, if you have a case like this, you can only go to arbitration, meaning, all right, we're going to go to a designated court to settle this. Well, the arbitration with the NFL means you're going to get an NFL-friendly court. This isn't arbitration, basically.
This one isn't.
No.
The Gruden one is.
Yeah.
That's going to arbitration, which, of course, doesn't look good for Gruden. This comes from one of my favorite sports personalities, Dave Damashek, who proposes a novel idea, Gino. Let's ditch the self-righteous halls of fame developed generations ago in favor of one location honoring every sport's all-time best, without the requirements enforced by those residing high atop Mount Pius. I'm talking to you, baseball writer. The hall for all. I've got 25 entrants in your inaugural class. Who do you got? Here's my NFL inaugural class. I'm aiming for 25 total. In the NFL, give me Brady, Montana, Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, Lawrence Taylor. Major League Baseball, Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, Barry Bonds, Ted Williams, Roger Clemens.
What?
NBA, stop, baseball writer. NBA, Jordan LeBron, Kareem Bill Russell. NHL, Gretzky, Lemieux, Gordie Howe, Martin Brodeur. Golf, Tiger, Jack. Tennis, Federer, Serena, Martina, and Djokovic. And I've got one spot to spare.
Okay. This is not baseball writer talking. This is Gene talking. If you're going to put Bonds and Clemens and all the guys that shouldn't be in.
Why?
Rose should be ahead.
Who?
Pete Rose.
Oh, Pete Rose.
Yeah, I would have put Pete Rose ahead of those two knuckleheads.
Got that weird haircut, though. He's like, he's like the Mark Davis of baseball all-time greats. Just kind of a weird guy. You could put in whoever you want. That's why this is my list. You could put in Pete Rose instead of Ted Williams if you want, or Pete Rose instead of Roger Clemens if you want. This is my list.
This is my, and like Walter Hagen, like golf. Are you just putting in two guys?
Yeah, just two. I think those are the two in golf that set an unbelievable high bar that everybody is trying to achieve. Nobody is coming close. Yeah. In the NBA, feels pretty clear. Look, in the NBA, Bill Russell, more championships. Kareem was Kareem. And LeBron and Jordan. I mean, you could say, "Whoa, what about Kobe?" No. I think that those are my guys. And the NHL, it feels pretty clear cut to me as well. It's Gretzky, it's Lemieux, it's Gordie Howe, and I think Martin Brodeur is the best goaltender of all time.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question that I don't know the answer to. Mike Danger, have you ever been to a Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Hockey?
The American Hockey Hall of Fame, yes.
Oh, that doesn't count.
What are you talking about?
That isn't with the American Hockey Hall of Fame.
I did go to the one in Toronto. I did go
okay.
to the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto.
Like the Boxing Hall of Fame, it's like it's right off. Like, did you know it's like off a throughway exit? It's like, oh, does that even count? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, to go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, that's something I would love to do someday. When I have the time. It's not, for me, it's not like a destination like I have to go.
How about a road trip to Cooperstown? You and me, bud. We'll get some listeners. We'll all go down to Cooperstown. We'll look at the plaques.
I only want to go to Cooperstown if I can wear my costume when we go to Cooperstown. Is that in poor form? If I wear full baseball uniform, like bring a mitt.
I think the kids call it cosplay these days.
Yeah. If I go, can I dress in full? And I'm not talking like a current baseball uniform. I don't want to show off my Franks and Beans. I'm saying like an old school.
The wool.
Yeah.
Like
I'm walking off the set of The Natural, right?
Yeah, Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Like you're playing out there. Yeah.
Bring my own mitt.
Dad, do you want to have a cat?
Yeah. It's totally normal. No daddy issues in that movie. Let's make a road trip. Either to Canton or Cooperstown, whichever one you want to go to, Gina. I like the Hall for All idea. I like the idea.
Hall for All.
Yeah, I like the
I think
idea
somebody
of that.
did this. There's so many requests we get to come on the show, and like, no. And some of them don't have anything to do with sports, where like, no, I'm not going to give you any time. But somebody had. There is one of these that actually exists. Somebody started one of these, like thinking that they were going to make it a tourist destination. I'm like, no, not worth our time.
I wonder if it's only a tourist destination. Like, what kind of a business is the Pro Football Hall of Fame outside of the month of August when you're actually enshrining people? I mean, it's a tourist destination for fans of the teams that are going to see their play. Like, if you're a Bear fan, now would be the time to go, right? You go in August, you see Devin Hester go in.
Yeah, I mean, like the real Hall of Fame, 12 months a year. Like Cooperstown, I've heard, like, look, it's very busy during the summer, but if you go down in the fall or holidays, that's a little more off peak. Pretty good. I try to get in the Hockey Hall of Fame has different hours up there, though. I was kind of bummed, right?
Yeah. The Little League Hall of Fame too. I can't forget about that one.
I've been to that one.
Yeah, haven't we all driven by that one at least once?
Yeah, like when you're driving those roads in Pennsylvania, where like they have a diner and then another ad for an adult business.
Yeah,
and another peep show thing.
It's diner and porn, diners and porn, and an occasional religious ad. Diners, porn, and religion. On that stretch of Pennsylvania.
Wasn't that a show on Food Network?
Yeah. What's this little porn shop doing trunk pizza out of the... Never mind. We got to take a break. Let's do the exercise. Let's talk about what Ryder was mentioning. Bill Ryder joined us yesterday, gave us some time talking about his visit with us yesterday during his show today, but he also had a pretty fun little exercise that you were telling me about, Gino, where they drafted NFL teams that didn't make the playoffs last year. Like a little fantasy draft.
Yeah, and I've got a couple teams, but it kind of brings into focus. I don't know if there's any slam dunk for any of these teams that missed last year.
We'll also be joined by AJ Cebulski, the Batavia Daily News, and the Right Here, Right Now pod. He's stopping by here in about 25 minutes or so. We have time for your calls if you want to pull up a stool at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326.
The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. The Fan, Rochester, sports update.
It's Game 5 between Dallas and Minnesota. Win for the Mavericks, and they're going back to the finals for the second time in their franchise history. Although Minnesota has won 3 elimination games already this postseason, Rudy Gobert, the center, says he wants to make it 4.
I think we just have a lot of guys that believe and that want to win. And obviously, when you're on the brink of getting eliminated from your goal, from your dream, sometimes maybe the urgency and everything else is at a higher level.
Rochester Red Wings drew over 9,000 today. They get the win over St. Paul, 6-3. Same two teams tomorrow night at Innovative Field. Milwaukee defeating the Cubs today in the majors, 6-4. Twins over the Royals, 7-6. Rays and A's tied at 5. They're in the 11th. Yankees tonight playing the Angels out west. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, the Fan, Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Jalen Waddle agreeing to terms on a 3-year deal worth $84.75 million.
The Bills are going through their OTAs.
Mike Danger.
Completely unintentional.
You should own that.
This is how I've gone through my entire life. Just completely stumbling forward. I had no idea.
Gene Battaglia.
The wide array of topics here in the sports bar that we can kind of tackle.
The freaking New York Mets. We know the Mets are going to Met, and they pretty much metted as hard as the Mets could ever met.
I think I've been looking the worst team probably in the whole MLB.
CT scans on Pete Alonso's right hand and wrist reportedly came back clean. He's day-to-day with a bone bruise.
I think the Wolves are going to win tonight.
The Wolves?
I think the Mavs got 2 chances tonight and Game 6.
Bang! The Tina Skidmark has given Edmonton its first lead of the night, shorthanded against his former team.
The Rangers and Panthers break their 2-2 tie at the Garden, 8 Eastern tonight.
95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
We welcome you back into the sports bar. It's Danger and Battaglia. An unbelievable Thursday afternoon of sports talk for the Flowers City at 95.7 FM, AM 950, and the free-to-download Odyssey app. AJ Cebulski of the Batavia Daily News are right here, right now. The podcast with our with our buddy Alex Brasky is stopping by the sports bar here in about 10-15 minutes or so. We spent some time talking yesterday to Bill Ryder, who hosts Ryder Than You every day from 10 to noon here on the Fan, Rochester national sports talk show on the Infinity Sports Network. And he took some time during his show today talking about his visit with us.
I was on with our friends in Rochester yesterday. We're on the air. It was a really fun interview. I really like those guys, and it was a good time. But I obviously have said the Bills' window is closed, and they don't love that in Bills. I understand. And so very nicely they brought it up, and they mentioned that there's a promo of me saying this that I guess that the host, he's like, Bill, I can do it by memory. I've heard it so many times. So I'm trying to get our hands on it because I want to hear. Now, you put this together originally?
Oh, yes. I know. I have the raw version. I don't know if they put some bells and whistles on this promo, but I remember for a fact this Bills promo that they're talking about.
But this is from a couple years ago.
Oh, this is. I'm surprised they're still running it, but I love that they're running it.
I do too. I like being on with those dudes. I like, and I gave them the wrong phone number. So, Gene, I'm sorry. I felt really bad. I was in the car getting my son, and I saw the message. I was trying. I did not almost hit an SUV because that would be irresponsible. But I did definitely. It was hard getting it's hard to type when you drive, which is why you never do it. And I didn't do it yesterday.
No. Glad to hear that.
Thank you. I'm like, where? Shouldn't they have called by now? I felt really bad. You know what's closed? Not the Bills window. Bills' understanding of how to use phones. That window's closed.
The funny part about that is it's still timeless. It's not the promo isn't dated because what he said after the Bengals loss in that playoff divisional game is still true today.
He's saying, "I love you, I love Bill's name, but it's over." That was his take there, and I would say kind of it applies a little differently now because, well, Diggs and the turnover and everything else. And I would also say that the AFC has actually gotten much tougher since then, Danger. That is also true in the last 2 years.
So along the lines of Writer Than You, this morning they were discussing, and they did like this exercise you were telling me about where they basically went in and they did a draft of non-playoff teams from last season in the NFL.
Yeah, do you have a coin? Should we flip here? Because honestly, if we're doing this ourselves, and again, I'll ask you this question, anybody wants to jump in too. Look, we will take your calls. Our number is 866-4FAN, 866-4326, and the topic is this, like of all the teams that missed the postseason last year, and we were doing a draft here of those teams, we could do our own draft. Like
who's getting it?
Who's getting it? Danger, do you want the first pick?
You can take the first pick. I'll give it to you.
I'm going to take the first pick, and I'm going to take the team. And I know your counter argument. Actually, there's going to be two counter arguments. One being tough division and / conference, the AFC. But whenever you have Joe Burrow as your quarterback and Lou Anarumo on the defense, remember, Cincinnati missing last year because of injury, I would expect the Bengals to bounce back and at minimum be one of the 7 best teams in the AFC. So if I'm selecting all these teams, and yes, I'll listen to your Jets argument certainly, and yes, the NFC South is kind of weak. Jacksonville missed last year, but give me Cincinnati in my first pick.
Okay. If you're going to go with the Bengals, and my concern with the Bengals is distilled down to the health of Joe Burrow's wrist. Really, that's it. Like, if Joe Burrow can still throw a football with that surgically repaired wrist, then I'm with you. If that wrist, or if there's a loss of zip, or if he just can't throw it the way we've seen him throw it in the past or stay healthy, then I think the Bengals are still the dysfunctional Bengals that we've always known them to be. So for me, it's as simple as, how does Joe Burrow's wrist feel? If he's healthy and he can do all the things, then yes, I'm with you on that. My first pick is in the AFC East.
Yeah.
It's going to be the New York Jets. And it's going to be the New York Jets not because Aaron Rodgers missed all of last year. Like, they won 7 games last year without Aaron Rodgers. That defense is good. It got better. Hassan Reddick will get after the quarterback in ways that the Bills and the Dolphins and other teams are going to have to account for. And if Rodgers, who is over the hill, and we don't know what he'll look like after the Achilles injury, if Rodgers can just play mid, if he can just play mediocre, that's a massive improvement over what they got out of quarterback play last year. Offensively, you could argue they have the best skill position players in the AFC East. I'm not going to go as far as Mike Clay and say that the Jets are winning the Super Bowl this year.
No. How could you say that in a conference with Patrick Mahomes and others?
I'm not going to say that. But I do think if we're talking about teams that missed the postseason last year, I have questions about Robert Saleh. I don't have a lot of confidence in him as a head coach. But that roster is good. That's a good roster.
Well, then, hey, Jets make the postseason, then we here in West New York, the Sabres would own the trophy. Yay!
Yeah.
Longest drought. Yay! I was debating.
Give it up for the
two.
Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah. To me, it just comes down to, who do I like more, Burrow with an iffy wrist or 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers? I think I would take Burrow with the iffy wrist over Aaron Rodgers at this point. There's other teams out there, but I look over at the NFC, and you figure there's opportunity in the NFC. And I'll ask you a pop quiz here, Danger, and anybody else. Who is the team in the NFC that right now has the longest consecutive streak of making the postseason? Like, in the NFL, it's actually Kansas City, last 7 years.
Okay.
But in the NFC, who you think that might be? The answer, I think, might surprise you. It's actually Tampa Bay. Dating back to Tom Brady, and they made so the Buccaneers, are they ripe for the picking here? Because that to me seems like the team that always is on the verge of a rebuild, but they just kind of shrug their shoulders, and now they go back to Baker Mayfield. I'm looking at a team that is grossly underachieved, and I thought they had terrible coaching, and I think they're bringing an adult into the room in Raheem Morris. All Raheem Morris has to do is get that defense playing a little bit better, and now you have this. It's a weird dynamic, right? At quarterback, is Kirk Cousins going to be super motivated to put up all these numbers and never let the kid on the field? Like, is that going to kind of work there, or is it going to go the other direction? But I think the net positive is going to be more wins for Atlanta. So my second team, I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons.
God, that's another team that's just going to be fascinating to watch, just to see what they do, how they utilize Cousins, what they do with Penix, if Penix sees the field. Yeah, there's a lot of talent on that team as well. I'm going to go back to the AFC for my second pick. And I'm going to zero in on the AFC South. And it's pretty easy to look at Jacksonville and say, well, they just missed the postseason last year, so you got to take them, right? They've got their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. They've got a head coach who's won a Super Bowl in Doug Peterson. I'm not taking Jacksonville with my second pick. I'm taking the Indianapolis Colts with my second pick because of the promise of Anthony Richardson, because of the job that Shane Steichen did last year with Gardner Minshew, getting 7 wins. Again, like another team that you could look at and be like, how'd they get to 7 wins with what they had at quarterback? It's kind of remarkable. I think the Colts, with a healthy Anthony Richardson, are going to be dangerous. Now you add A.D. Mitchell to that offense. Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, I think I'm going Colts with my second pick, Gino.
Okay, so to kind of review, we're doing our own little mini draft here. Teams that missed the postseason last year. Who do you have making the postseason? My first round pick, the Bengals. Danger taking the Jets. My second pick, Atlanta. Danger's second pick, staying in the Southeast, going with Jacksonville. I'm going to bring this a little closer to our area. And if you had to say who has the best bookends on the defensive line, amongst teams at least that missed the postseason last year, I mean, you're adding Brian Burns to that Giants defensive line. We don't talk about that enough. Can the Giants kind of reinvent themselves? That's an interesting team, is it not? Because the offense pretty much, all right, is Saquon healthy? Let's see what we can get out of Danny Dimes. Well, Jones is back. Maybe there will be in the quarterback market next year, but if you're Brian Daboll, you're coaching for your job, and maybe this is a team that learns how to win close, low-scoring games, because I would think with Thibodeau and with Brian Burns and some of that other defensive talent, and again, it's the NFC. I don't see any reason why the Giants couldn't be the final wildcard team, so I'm going to take the New York Giants.
Okay.
You don't agree with that?
No, this is where it gets interesting in the draft, because you start to pick teams that have questions, right? Like none of this. We could talk in circles about how this feels like a slam dunk, but is anything with the Giants ever a slam dunk? I mean, we want Brian Daboll to be successful. We want to root for the guy because he's got ties to our area. But like from what we saw from Brian Daboll last year, do we really get the sense that this guy's a really good head coach? I have some questions.
Yeah, there was a honeymoon period 2 years ago. They make the postseason. They win a game on the road. And then last year, my image is of Brian Daboll going off on Tyrod going into half in this game. Yeah,
not real great. Boy, I'm torn on this one, Gino. And you're going to make fun of me. I want to go.
No, don't.
I'm going to. Because I can't look at what the Chargers have right now and say, with Jim Harbaugh as their new head coach and with Justin Herbert, like I can't look at what the Chargers have and are and say, well, the Chargers could surprise people and find the postseason from the West. I don't know that I see it when you have to play Kansas City twice and you're in the AFC.
You could say, though, that are you really sold in on the Raiders and Denver not happening so they could win accidentally? No, but not happening. What about the Colts? Is that going to be your pick?
I already picked the Colts. The Colts were my second pick. I didn't take Jacksonville with my. Okay. I took the Colts. Okay. I said it would have been easy to take Jacksonville there, but I actually like the Colts because of the upside of Anthony Richardson and the job that Shane Steichen did last year.
Listening, it's a good skill to have.
I'm going to go with the Bears. The Bears. That's my third pick. I didn't take them first, Gino. I mean, I showed restraint. Everybody wants to give the division to Detroit. Everybody wants to believe that Jordan Love and the Packers have arrived and that they're going to be just fine, and they might be. And the Bears might win 4 games, or the Bears could surprise everybody. And the reasons why I think they could make the postseason, their offensive line wasn't as bad last year as everybody made them out to be. There's actually some really good statistical data that shows that running the football, they were strong. They were good at pass protection. Justin Fields was a problem back there when he was back there. And when he wasn't back there, you had Tyson Bagent. This is assuming that Caleb Williams is competent as a rookie. And I don't know that he will be C.J. Stroud, but if you can get a little bit more than what you got out of Justin Fields, another 7-win team from last year that could find themselves in the postseason. The defense will be solid. The offense, I think, will be better than it was last year with Williams behind center. And I think the Bears could be a postseason team.
Dude, this reminds me of last year, you getting excited. Hey, they're going to play the Packers in the opener.
I just wanted them to beat. No, my expectation last year, all I wanted last year, just beat Green Bay. That's all I wanted last year. Last year I didn't say they were a playoff team. I just wanted to beat Green Bay. And this year I wanted to beat Green Bay. I'm getting greedy. Beat Green Bay and also beat Green Bay and get to the postseason.
I don't think you've ever had a quarterback with this potential, though. That's the weird thing. Like, having good quarter play. The Bears won a championship with mediocre quarterback play. The Bears got to another Super Bowl with a substandard quarterback. I mean, you don't know what it's like to have a quarterback.
Correct. Maybe I'm a little overly optimistic, but give me that because I've never felt this before in my life. The closest I felt to this was Jay Cutler when they traded for Jay Cutler, and we know how that went. Nobody cares. So,
but it was fun for a little bit, right?
It was a fun few years with Lovie Smith there. Let's get to AJ joining us next. AJ Cebulski, Batavia Daily News. You can hear him with Alex Brasky on the Right Here, Right Now podcast as well. I'm understanding that he won't make fun of Gene for being a Mets fan, which is why we've booked him for 425.
Unless Alex is putting him off. Alex is like needling him.
AJ joins us next. We'll talk some Buffalo Bills OTAs here next on The Fan.
Sports Update.
It's Game 5 tonight between Dallas and Minnesota in the Western Conference Final. The NBA win for the Mavericks, and they're going to the final. Although, Dallas ready for this. Jason Kidd says what needs to happen tonight.
We got to figure out how to slow these guys down. We got a responsibility. We got a job to do, and that's, to find a way to win in Minnesota. This is a great opportunity for us as a young team to go through this. This is a new group going against one of the best teams in the league.
Over 9,000 in attendance today for the Rochester Red Wing game, and they get a win 6-3 over St. Paul. Wings are now 2 games above 500. Same 2 teams tomorrow night at Frontier Field. On the Major League scoreboard, Twins over the Royals 7-6. Brewers defeated the Cubs 6-4. In 12 innings, it was the Rays over the A's 6-5. No score in the first between the Astros and Mariners. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, the Fan, Rochester.
They've raised the bar on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
You can hear our next guest alongside Alex Brasky of the Right Here, Right Now podcast. Also at the Batavia Daily News. Making his inaugural visit into the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia, AJ Cebulski stopping by. Let's talk some Buffalo Bills. AJ, your observations from OTAs, and is the correct reaction to OTAs to not have a reaction to OTAs?
Yeah, Mike, Gene, thank you for having me on. Definitely the case with OTAs, definitely early in the offseason still. So not too much to take away, but obviously some things to talk about. DeMar Hamlin obviously made a big interception on Josh Allen, so that's something to note as he's kind of fighting for a roster spot in a safety room that's new and refreshing in a way because Poyer and Hyde aren't there, so they obviously added a lot of new pieces to that unit. And then Justin Shorter made some plays as well. Defensive line, Greg Rousseau got his hand on the ball to break that up, going into a big fourth season, contract year. All the tools, has all the intangibles, has had trouble staying healthy the past couple of years. You really want to see him kind of break out and have that big fourth season, especially for him because he's going into that contract year. And then just all in all, it's just a lot of new faces on this Bills roster. Ray Davis, Alex Brasky mentioned that he really had a solid day, and he's one of the bright spots on that Bills rookie class. So just really looking forward to seeing these guys progress throughout the next week of OTAs and then obviously into the mandatory minicamp and into training camp.
Yeah, I mean, AJ, I think that part of the draft, I think we can already piece together, what the 53 could look like. And talking about Ray Davis, you look at Ray Davis and DeMarco Murray right now is still out there. Maybe the Bills will bring him back at some point. I don't know. But to me, Ray Davis is the guy who takes that spot in the roster. And my question is, because DeMarco Murray was kind of a role player last year, and it really wasn't that big a piece of the offense, could Ray Davis be more of a 1B to the 1A of James Cook, do you think?
So I talked about it on my podcast yesterday. I think the plan is, or my guess at the plan would be, James Cook, I think, just has so much ability as a pass catcher and in the running game where he can really solidify that number one spot. He was fourth in the league in rushing yards last year, came on as a pass catcher, obviously had some drops where you felt like he needed some of those back, but if he can improve on that in a little bit more consistent season, I think James Cook has every right to be the, back. But now with Ray Davis, and you also have a Ty Johnson, who I'm very high on. I think he was underutilized last year, but again, with Latavius Murray there, an established guy in this league, it's kind of tough for, Ty Johnson to get his name out there and get snaps and get opportunity. So I think with this depth running back competition, I really think you're going to see Ty Johnson and Ray Davis kind of split that, the complementary back kind of role on this team. Ray Davis, 5-year player at college, here at seasons in college team, so very impressive, already 24, 25 years old, so has some veteran presence. And Ty Johnson, again, I think he did well in his opportunities last year, and I'm excited to see kind of that battle shape out for running back too. But I really do think that a rotational backup running back will be in place with Davis and Ty Johnson.
AJ, want to talk to you about what we feel will be the most compelling group on the field that we'll be discussing as we get closer to training camp, and that's wide receiver. But before we talk about wide receiver, there's a play that is going to change the way the game looks. Fans are going to be jarred by this play, and I'm curious. I don't think they're able to actually practice this play during OTAs because OTAs supposedly aren't at full speed. Do you get any sense of what the Bills' strategy or attack might be when it comes to dealing with kickoffs in 2024?
I truly don't, but I will say this. A Chiefs coach came out today, I don't remember who it was, but mentioned that they might not have Harrison Butker kick off because of the fact that the kicker is going to be more relied upon in tackling the return man because of the fact that there's a wall of, lining up at the kickoff, and then you kick it off and you're all standing there. And if you get by that initial wall, if your special teams unit blocks the right way, then your kicker's kind of left out to dry because he's kind of the final barrier. Now, I know that was the case before this rule, but you look at that plus the return for the Bills, that's another big question. So there's still a lot of unknown with what that's going to look like. But I thought it was interesting that there's already some discussion that maybe we should send out like a safety to just kick it down there. And if he can make it down there every time, what's the difference? But, yeah, we're going to see a totally new – and I'm really excited to see that develop throughout the year. I thought last year it was just not a waste of a play because there were still some fascinating moments. I know Deontay Hardy, the punt return, was not a kickoff, but there were still some cool special teams moments, but not – so I think this new kickoff rule can really change the game in that aspect, and we'll see how teams adjust throughout the season.
Yeah, in the teams that have the game-breaking return, I'm wondering, hey, the Dolphins, and it's late in the game, do they put Tyreek Hill back? And who might be those candidates in Buffalo to return that? Because that's always kind of the tiebreaker, right? Especially when we're talking about the 6th or 7th, perhaps, wide receiver on the Buffalo Bills, and do they play special teams? And I don't know. Is that guy KJ Hamler? Is it Justin Shorter? I don't know who would be the designated guy, or do you have your eye on somebody, AJ, who would be that returner?
Yeah, you lost Deontay Hardy, obviously going to Baltimore, working with the new. Kind of newish Baltimore Ravens, adding Derrick Henry over there in Baltimore. They'll be a fun team to watch this season. But, yeah, I'm interested to see what the Bills do in the return game. Darrington Evans is a guy who's coming back that I think had some moments in the return game and as a runner where he can maybe make a push. I know Ty Johnson has had some responsibility. Then, like you said, KJ Hamler has had that ability to return in the past in his career. But, again, the injuries with him, along with an Andy Isabella, who's another guy where he's had some opportunities throughout camp last season, but is he a guy that can step in and fill that role? It's really so up in the air right now, like you said, but there's a lot of guys. I mentioned Isabella, Hamler, Darrington Evans, all those three guys probably definitely in the mix, and we'll see if there's a kind of a surprise candidate that can kind of take over that role and make the Bills a better special teams unit, because that was one of their weaknesses, I would say, last season.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the wide receivers here and talk more about the guys that will make this team as wide receivers, not just as return specialists or special teamers. I mean, we feel like Shakir, Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, their locks. MVS feels like he will be on this roster as well. What do you make of Mac Hollins? What do you make of Chase Claypool? They invested a draft pick in Justin Shorter last year. Do you out of these guys that are remaining, who rounds out that wide receiver room for the Buffalo Bills in your opinion, AJ?
So I have actually, and maybe this is a crazy take, but I think Mac Hollins is a lock, and I don't think that's that crazy because he was a captain in Vegas. I think he's had subpar quarterback play in his career. I think his special teams ability the team values. Khalil Shakir was at the podium after OTAs on Tuesday speaking up how Mac Hollins is the voice of the receiver room right now. He's the loudest. He's kind of the spitfire guy that gets them going. So I think his importance just off the field will be so valuable for this team. Add the special teams ability to what he can do. He's a big guy, big target. Again, he's had success. He was a former captain with the Vegas Raiders. Obviously had a down year last season, but I think Mac Hollins is a lock at this point. So you're looking at, because I agree with the other four you mentioned, MVS, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, and Curtis Samuel. So you look at a Justin Shorter, year two. What is he? He was placed on IR last season. They tried to take him off, opened up his 21-day practice window. I don't know if they didn't like what they saw, but he never got an opportunity to perform. KJ Hamler, former second-round pick, Again, injury issues, hasn't really done anything since his rookie year in Denver. So Chase Claypool, another one. That's where I'm at right now with this. Is Chase Claypool, the KJ Hamlins of the world, the Terrell Shavers, who they liked, an undrafted rookie free agent in 2023 going into his second season. All these guys kind of fighting for that spot. But I do want to mention Chase Claypool, a guy that ran a 4.4, 4.41 at the combine, has the ability to be a freak athlete and go up and get the ball. Made a nice play in week 1 of OTAs on Jamarcus Ingram. Can Claypool reel himself back in after going for almost 900 yards and 8-9 touchdowns in his rookie season in Pittsburgh, then kind of fell off a cliff, went to the Bears, got traded there, then went to Miami, never really got any footing there. Now he's in Buffalo with Josh Allen, and I always say, with this Bills unit, not really much more opportunity in the league to play with a star quarterback on a roster that lost Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs than in Buffalo. So I think, although there's a lack of talent, depth-wise, I think there's also more opportunity for these depth pieces like Claypool, the Hamlers, and the Shores of the world to make a push for this roster. And if they keep 7, then there's going to be 2 guys fighting for that spot. If they keep 6, I really think they might only keep 1 guy and send one in the practice squad, assuming the 5 guys I previously mentioned are all locked. So it's going to be a very interesting development to see how that plays out in training camp. And no matter what, I think with Josh Allen, be able to figure that out sooner rather than later.
AJ Cebulski, Batavia Daily News and the Right Here, Right Now podcast talking about OTAs. And AJ, I have a take, and I feel like I'm on an island on this take, but I think the answer for the Bills' number 1 wide receiver on this team has been here all along. I don't think it was an accident last year that Khalil Shakir came on right down the stretch. In the arc of a career wide receiver, yeah, sometimes in year 3, these guys will pop. Now, here is, you can go against my argument that I'm saying if you double the targets, well, if the production actually doubled, you're talking about numbers in receptions and yardage that would be top 10 in the NFL. Now, I understand that if you're giving more targets, there's more attrition and you'll be wearing down more. But where do you come down on Shakir? Was last year more symbolic of his ceiling, or perhaps with Diggs now out of the way, could we see this receiver even blossom more?
Yeah, so it's funny because I was sort of low on Khalil Shakir entering last season because I went to training camp for about a week and I was able to watch Shakir. And obviously I read updates from other media members, and they mentioned the drops. So the drops were a big thing for Shakir throughout training camp. I thought the opportunity just kept getting less and less. His rookie season, only 10 catches for 161 yards and a touchdown. So not much rookie production going into a year 2 where you still have a Diggs Davis. You drafted Dalton Kincaid in the first round, taking more targets potentially away at James Cook, who's going to keep developing as a pass catcher and be utilized more. So I didn't really know if there was a place for Shakir. Then, shooting it a different way, he started run blocking. And once he started run blocking, I feel like that allowed him to get on the field more. And when he got field more, he got more opportunity to produce, get yardage, get catches, get these touchdowns, especially later in the year with the Joe Brady offense after Dorsey was let go. So Shakir is a fascinating guy. I think he has all the tools to be great at yards after the catch. I think he can win underneath. I think he has the position versatility where you can line him up in the boundary, you can line him up in the slot. Shakir's going to have a big season with Josh Allen. I really do expect that. But, again, he needs to stay consistent, and he needs to, obviously stay healthy. That's for every player. But the consistency, the drops, all that stuff need to be taken care of if he wants to take that next step into that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 role with this team.
AJ, the calendar flips to June over the course of the weekend. Do you think Brandon Beane has more moves up his sleeve?
With Brandon Beane, right? That's the thing with Brandon Beane. You never really know. Emmanuel Ogbah, agent defensive end, is someone that intrigues me from Miami. He was released. A very interesting player, has had success. That's my biggest concern going into 2024 is the edge room, just because of the fact, what is Von Miller? Can A.J. Epinesa take that next step? Can Greg Rousseau become the player he was drafted to be with all those athletic traits that hopefully continue to progress and thrive as he gets healthier and older? But I'm really curious to see what they do once that $10 million frees up. But I would want to see them go after the edge room because I just think that's a big on this team, and they need to figure that out. But again, with Babbage, with McDermott, maybe they're more aggressive. They might have to be because of the lack of, I would say, game-changing talent on the defensive line. I still think they have a solid defensive line, but I wouldn't say they have a game-changer like a Myles Garrett or a TJ Watt or names like that. So more aggressive, play more man coverage. We'll see what happens, but I think Brandon Beane is in the market for a defensive end, maybe a corner like a Patrick Peterson. That's the name that's been thrown around, but we'll see what he does. Maybe he'll keep that money and wait for a in-season trade or someone to go down on the team to fill a void during the season.
Yeah, last year's in-season trade, I thought it was great. I mean, to pick up a corner like you did from Green Bay, certainly that proved to be a big hit. But when you're looking at the corner position and you're projecting right now, Kaiir Elam perhaps is the 3, maybe the 4. I understand defensive line is very thin, but I guess the first part of the question, let's start here, AJ. Are you buying in on the Kaiir Elam redemption story? Because it's the month of May, and we're in shorts, and everything is sunny and bright and optimistic, and it's hard to kind of get worn down at this point of the season. So that's my disclaimer here, because there's a lot of positivity surrounding Kaiir Elam, and I'm just trying to, fish out, like, what should we be buying into here?
Kaiir Elam, and I said it on the Right Here, Right Now pod yesterday over at the Batavia Daily News and Livingston County News, was take the names out of it. Take the names Kaiir Elam and Christian Benford out of it. And the reason I think Bills fans think this way, which again I said I could understand, is Kaiir Elam is a guy from an SEC school, the University of Florida, that Brandon Beane went and traded up to get. Christian Benford is a 6th rounder from FCS school that's really known for basketball. I don't even know if I can name a football player off the top of my head from there besides Christian Benford. So that is why I think this conversation keeps coming back up, because there's a first-round guy from a Power 5 school versus a FCS guy in the 6th round that took Kaiir Elam's job in his first season and has never let it go. So while I do think Kaiir Elam might benefit from this new, defensive style, the Bills might try and play not a lot, but Kaiir Elam might see the field. I think that he might see the field a little bit more, but I really think this is Christian Benford's job and Rasul Douglas's job. I really don't see an avenue unless injury and maybe in some, sub packages where they want to get more aggressive or they want to play some press man, which Elam excels in. There's not really much opportunity for Elam to be a starter just because of the fact I think Benford and Douglas are just that good. I don't really think it says much about Elam. It's more so I just think Benford and Douglas are that good.
AJ, when you look at the moves made this offseason, when you cast a wide net and you look at everything that the Bills have done or haven't done, whether you're talking about free agency or the draft, and you look at the rest of the competition in the AFC East, is it going to be a little bit tighter than even last year was for the Bills to repeat again as AFC East champions? Do you think that the Jets and the Dolphins have actually done enough or done more to actually be more competitive or overthrow the Bills going into this season when you just look at the rosters and the talent on each team's roster?
Yeah, to start with the Dolphins, I think they take a step back. They lost Christian Wilkins. They lost Robert Hutt, and their starting right guard. I know they added Odell Beckham Jr. to that wide receiver room. I know Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are still there. They have the speed with the Chan and Mostert in the running back room. But the one thing is Tua, I don't think scares me enough to put fear where they can make a run down the stretch. You saw it last year. They had the division, according to the New York Times playoff machine, at like 98% at one point. Then they lose at home to the Will Levis-led Titans and blow that game, opens the door for the Bills. The Bills take advantage, beat them in Week 18 for the division. On the other hand, I think if Rodgers can just stay healthy, be on the field, I think that team could be scary. And I want to say that because you have a Malachi Corley. You have a Mike Williams who can stay healthy, if he can stay healthy. A Garrett Wilson, who's a bona fide number one guy. Tyler Conklin at tight end. Breece Hall in the running back room. And then an offensive line that you kind of revamped. Tyron Smith is a guy that, he has injury problems, but still has talent. And defensively, put in Williams. You trade for Hassan Reddick, a two-time All-Pro from Philly. And you have C.J. Mosley, Sauce Gardner, D.J. Reed, all those guys. So I think that Jets team, with that defense, they've already given the Bills trouble in the past. They've beaten the Bills with Zach Wilson and Mike White. So that's something to take note of. And I know it's different every year. But with Aaron Rodgers, even somewhat once was with that defense and Robert Saleh and what they're trying to do, I think the Jets have a very good opportunity. They have the easier schedule. They finished third in the AFC East last year, so you get a lighter schedule. You're not playing the first-place teams like the Bills are. And I think the Jets might take advantage of it. Now, the big thing is health with them because they got a lot of banged-up guys in the past. Aaron Rodgers, 40 years old, coming off an Achilles injury. You have Mike Williams, who hasn't been able to stay healthy in his career. Tyron Smith, who, again, has not really played a full season in a long, long time. So that's the question. How long can they stay durable? How long are they able to stay healthy? But if they do, because I thought they were going to be scary last year, the Rodgers injury obviously hurt that. They revamped again. They're in that 1-2 year window with Rodgers yet again, so they really got to go all in and hope it works out.
I just look at the schedule, AJ, of the Jets, and if you're just doing this based on quarterback, now people focus, oh my gosh, they gave them the Niners opening game. Okay, yeah, that probably will be a loss, but after that, it's Will Levis, it's Jacoby Brissett or Drake May, Bo Nix, another rookie quarterback when you're facing the Vikings. Then you get the Bills. Oh, and then you get 2 retread quarterbacks in Pittsburgh, and then whatever New England's trotting out. And you're already there Halloween, and really you've faced Josh Allen and the 49ers. So I guess my point here being, should Buffalo Bills fans brace here based on the schedule for playing from behind, much like they did last year when it comes to the division?
Every year is different, so I'll preface it with that. But based on the schedule you just mentioned that you read off to me, and obviously that's on paper, things can change. But I will say the Bills obviously have a tougher stretch, especially weeks 2 through 6. It's a gauntlet. So I think the Bills have to fight, and they've been a resilient experiment. That's kind of their MO. They get kind of down. They lose a couple of games. You're like, what the heck are they doing? And then they come together. Last year, like I said, 6-6. You rattle off 5 straight. You go to Kansas City. You play Dallas at home. You go to Miami and win on the road. So they've proven when it matters to be getting it done. But it feels like one of these years that maybe that's not going to be the case because that's very hard to do year in, year out, is being on the ropes and being resilient enough like that to get through. So I think the Bills right now, I still have them winning the division. I would not be shocked if the Jets do. I just don't see the Dolphins, unless their offense starts putting up 30, 35 points a game against good defenses, not just like the average, below average defenses, the elite defenses, and they really get it going on offense and just outscore teams every week. But yeah, I would be a little concerned if I was a Bills fan in terms of where the Bills will finish just because of the schedule and what the Jets and Dolphins have done.
AJ, tell everybody about the new pod with Alex right here, right now. We're excited to consume what you're working on and also the work that you're doing there for the Batavia Daily News.
Right here, right now. Find it on YouTube, Facebook, Batavia Daily Analytics and County News. Anywhere on audio, Apple, Spotify, obviously the popular ones. We just talk each week about basically the comings and goings of Buffalo Bills football and give our thoughts, opinions, our reports, and what's really going on at One Bills Drive, and we'll continue that throughout the whole, off season on into the regular season, and we will try and give everyone the best coverage that we can give.
Yeah, you and Alex are grinders. AJ, appreciate it. We'll check it out. Thanks for your time today.
All right, thanks so much.
Yeah, AJ Cybulski. You can read his work at the Batavia Daily News, the Right Here, Right Now pod with our buddy Alex Brasky, making his inaugural visit into the sports bar. We'll have AJ back in again.
He brings up the point, like if you just took away, close your eyes and like, hey, here's Kyrie Elam, wasn't a first rounder, but I'm still not buying in. And like it's an interesting debate because we're expecting Brandon Beane to tinker with this roster. Would you want a bona fide third corner on this roster, or do you think there's more help needed at the edge rusher position?
Yeah, I know how important that pass rush is for a Sean McDermott defense to go, and I just don't know that you have the pass rush right now.
No, you don't have Leonard Floyd anymore.
Right.
That is one of the big losses from last year.
Right, and so you've taken a step backward unless you somehow find a way to get somebody who can get to the quarterback, get you those double-digit sacks. I don't know that it's on the roster right now as it's constructed. We'll see. With that calendar flipping to June, there's a little bit of flexibility there for Brandon Beane to play. We'll see what actually comes out of it. We've got happy hour next in the sports bar. We have time for your calls if you want to pull up a stool. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. We've got a Game 5 in the NBA. We've got a Game 5 in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Stanley Cup playoffs as well. We'll get to all of that and a round of shots along with Last Call. All on the way on the Fan.
You're listening. And in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Couple game fives tonight. You got the Rangers and Panthers tied at 2 games each in the NBA tonight. It's Dallas with a chance to advance over Minnesota. Although Minnesota's won 3 elimination games already this postseason, Rudy Gobert says it's time to win another.
I think we just have a lot of guys that believe and that want to win. And obviously when you're on the brink of getting eliminated from your goal, from your dream, sometimes maybe the urgency and everything else is at a higher level.
Big crowd for the Red Wings today. Over 9,000 for the morning start. They get the win 6-3 over St. Paul. Starter DJ Hers striking out 10 in the win. Wings now 2 games above 500. Same 2 teams tomorrow night at Innovative Field. Brewers over the Cubs 6-4. Twins over the Royals 7-6. Yankees out west tonight playing the Angels. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader. The Fan Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Jalen Waddle agreeing to terms on a 3-year deal worth $84.75 million.
The Bills are going through their OTAs.
Mike Danger.
Completely unintentional.
You should own that.
This is how I've gone through my entire life. Just completely stumbling forward. I had no idea.
Gene Battaglia.
The wide array of topics here in the sports bar that we can kind of tackle.
The freaking New York Mets. We know the Mets are going to Met, and they pretty much metted as hard as the Mets could ever met.
I think I've been looking the worst team probably in the whole MLB.
CT scans on Pete Alonso's right hand and wrist reportedly came back clean. He's day-to-day with a bone bruise.
I think the Wolves are going to win tonight.
The Wolves?
I think the Mavs got 2 chances tonight and Game 6.
Bang! Martinez Skidmark has given Edmonton its first lead of the night, shorthanded against his former team.
The Rangers and Panthers break their 2-2 tie at the Garden, 8 Eastern tonight.
95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Game 5s tonight.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff. Welcome back into the sports bar. It's happy hour with Danger and Battaglia. Thanks for making this part of your ride home. Appreciate you listening at 95.7 FM or AM 950. We sound our best in the free-to-download Odyssey app. You can hear us on your smart device when you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan. If you're watching the sports bar, we appreciate it if you like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube at The Fan Rochester. And we're also streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Fan Rochester. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia.
We have some breaking news from the NFL.
Breaking news in the sports bar.
Ow! Ow!
It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
I think this is a bigger deal in years past. Like, we'd always have the build-up and the debate. Which team will be selected for HBO's Hard Knocks? And the rules still apply. Like, if you made the playoffs last year, you're not eligible. Or if you have a new head coach, you're not eligible. So for the Buffalo Bills, not eligible. Or for the LA Chargers, well, they have a new head coach, not eligible. The team that will be selected for HBO's Hard Knocks, look at him, if you're watching YouTube or Twitch right now, shaking his head. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Bears on reality television.
Maybe this is why Matt Eberflus had his glow up during the offseason. He knew, like, all right, well, if cameras are going to be following me around everywhere, I better clean my act up. Let me lose a couple pounds. Let me get the facial hair on point. Let me get a new hairstyle that my wife approves of, and let's go ahead and draft some studs, and let's see what happens.
I think one reason why you don't have the build-up is because I think it's sanitized over the years. I don't think the NFL really wants you to see a bad side of Caleb Williams or anybody else.
It's not an event anymore. It's not must-see TV. It was novel, and it was you had some really, really good moments, some high points, but I mean, think about the year that they had the Raiders and you had Antonio Brown.
That was when they say jump the shark, when you couldn't get the real story on Antonio Brown.
Right. We wanted to know, like, all right, show us that. Show us what that was like, because that was a circus. And it didn't present as one when you watched it's state-run TV. They're only going to show you what they want to show you. And I don't know. I mean, like, I just feel like there's more interesting ways to kind of follow the NFL than what they're pumping out there. That whatever. It's a giant. You know, it is a giant Francesa for me, Gino.
No. I don't know if you subscribe to HBO Danger.
I don't.
Excuse me. It's not even HBO anymore. It's Max.
Yeah.
You're gonna
brilliant marketing. Genius, by the way. Let's just take a brand name that everybody knows and understands what it is and throw it out the window and call it something completely different. Let's call it Max. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Max is Hard Knocks.
I'm not.
You'll be tuning in. Stop. Stop.
And here's the other part of it. There's a Hard Knocks happening like right now. Hard Knocks, Joe Shane.
Like giant off season. Like what they're showing interviews for the marketing assistant. What are they doing?
This is it is. It's become diluted. It's just homogenized and watered down, and it's not special anymore. And does this tie into what we were talking about earlier with this antitrust class action suit that is being proposed?
Well, it's going to go to trial, apparently. And in the NFL, the NFL has this great way of settling things, and here's the check. Go away. Sign a non-disclosure. See the concussion lawsuit they settled. See St. Louis. See Colin Kaepernick. How many other times does this happen? Now, the story here in 5 seconds is, hey, you subscribe to the Sunday NFL Ticket, whether that's through DirecTV or whether that was through YouTube. This lawsuit is alleging that's against antitrust laws. The fact of the way it was bundled and marked up. Meaning, hey, you're a Cowboy fan. Why do I got to buy all this other stuff? I just want to watch the Cowboys.
Right. But if you go against the NFL on this, then you have to look at the NBA's practices, Major League Baseball's practices. You'd have to do the same thing, right?
That's true. But who makes the most money out of this? And where would
I guess, why you bring up Hard Knocks, I start to wonder to myself, what would stop Jerry Jones or any NFL team or any NFL owner from just saying, all right, well, that's fine. We'll produce our own content. We're already producing a ton of content, some with the NFL's assistance, some with our own staff. But there's probably enough content between all 32 teams where each team could be their standalone. I hate to use the word network because if you're a network, chances are you're not going to make money and they're not going to invest in something that loses money. But if there's no expense to it or minimal expense to it and there's an upside to make revenue, what would stop an NFL team from just being their own network?
Well, for whatever reason, this is way over my head. It doesn't work anymore. Like yes, and MSG, and if you're in a big market, I suppose. But I look at all these other, and again, different sport, but you have content every night. If you are Fox Sports Arizona and the Diamondbacks, and you want to have basketball and everything else, none of these, like with Diamond Sports Properties, all the Bally Sports Networks, they all went belly up.
Right. But does the NFL have a way of making it so that they can run it more lean, more efficient? Why is NFL Network going away? Like, what about?
That's weird.
Right.
That's where it's still around, but they just
is it
water
being?
Down.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it being set up to be acquired by Disney? Like, will ESPN swallow NFL Network and then Good Morning Football, the show that you watched on NFL, really the only show that you watched on NFL Network, then becomes just part of ESPN's larger programming?
Well, I mean, I would think that ESPN would love to have that, but I would think that if an Apple or any of these other bigger players wanted to come in, ESPN isn't the big bully on the block anymore. They're like a step behind.
I just think to myself that each NFL team does such a great job of producing content that they share on their social media or on their YouTube, their own individual YouTube channels.
Why would you go pay Max to go watch Caleb Williams in shorts?
Right. But I would pay the Bears just to be able to watch Bears programming, to be able to watch Bear games exclusively. If that's what this antitrust suit is leading us towards,
right?
I'd be okay with that. But I don't know that. Again, I use the word network because I don't know what other word to use. But I know that almost has a stench to it because you saw all those regional sports networks go belly up, but you haven't seen Yes do it. You haven't seen, Marquee for the Cubs is still a thing. Like it's SNY, whatever it is.
Is there one in a mid-sized market that works? I don't know the answer to that.
Right. I mean, like, you have to scale it, I suppose, right?
I mean, I was getting the question asked me over the weekend, like, why isn't there a network in Western New York? We don't talk about this.
There was.
Well, the Sabres have to bring in MSG. It's kind of effed up. That's a competing team. That's a competing team that's profiting off the Buffalo Sabres. Why don't we talk about that enough?
Right. And maybe that's the answer. Maybe the answer is it's a losing proposition. Like, if you're Terry Pagula, I don't want to start a TV network that is exclusively for the Buffalo Bills because it will lose money. Or will it? I mean, I don't know. Like, that's what I guess. I don't know the business end of that, but we know from recent history that the regional networks failed.
I think when you were in town when they had the Empire Sports,
I remember it.
That made money. It had viewers. It went belly up because, well, guys were
they
criminals.
Were crooks, yeah,
they were criminals. They had nothing to do with the way the business was run.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for sharing that, Gene. I guess I'm not
excited.
Not excited about that, but
who cares? Peter writing in, Mike Danger gives you the Jay Cutler meme.
Yeah, that's kind of how I look right now. You kind of look just like Jay Cutler. Like, really? I really don't care that they're going to be on Hard Knocks.
Come on, you want an all Bear network so you could have, like, can you imagine Jay Cutler like hosting a talk show or something like that? Or Jay
Cutler's good at content. I don't know if you know that or not. Jay Cutler's content is really good.
Jay Cutler, to me,
he's better at content than he is at the NFL.
Dry humor.
Yeah,
I love that.
His content. I mean, it's not for everybody. He's become like this kind of outdoorsy, outspoken, hunter, and I'm into my bourbon and I'm into my hunting and guy stuff, but his content is pretty good. I actually think he might be better suited for that than he was as a leader of men in a huddle. I don't think he was he was a decent quarterback, not a good leader. Didn't care. And I don't care.
You don't care.
Oh, who cares?
We've had a lot of fun this afternoon in the sports bar. Good conversation with AJ Cebulski of the Right Here, Right Now podcast. Joined us last hour to give us his thoughts on this week's sessions at OTAs for the Buffalo Bills. And we went through the exercise of drafting teams in the NFL who didn't make the postseason last year. We went 3 rounds.
Yeah, we went 3 rounds, and my first round pick was Cincinnati. Hey, you have Joe Burrow, and yes, I understand. There's actually concern with his wrist, and is he going to be healthy? But if he's healthy, how could that team miss? I mean, they have enough there to get one more, run in the postseason, I would think. I going way off the board here, knowing, hey, I look at that NFC South, and it's a little paper thin. And the Buccaneers, one of these years, they're not going to make the postseason. I think a team that's underachieved is Atlanta, and you bring in a couple new quarterbacks, a new head coach. I think they're interesting. And now, this is where you kind of stretch a little bit, but I do think that the New York Giants going to get Burns. I think that's one of the best postseason pickups. We pair him opposite Thibodeau. Maybe the Giants can learn different ways to win games. So the Giants were my 3rd pick. Danger, you're 3 completely different, where you didn't go with the Giants. Your number 1 was the Jets.
Yeah, I took the Jets in the first round. I just think if you get mediocre play out of Aaron Rodgers, you're winning 10 games with that defense. You won 7 last year with incompetence at quarterback. So the Jets... I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl team the way some have said, but I do think that defense, and by the way, I don't have a lot of faith in Robert Saleh as a head coach, but there's too much talent on that team. Even Saleh can't screw that up. If Rodgers is healthy and if he gives you at least mediocre play at quarterback. Jets were my first round pick. My second round pick were the Colts. I'm encouraged by the job that Shane Steichen did in his first year in Indianapolis. And I'm encouraged to see what Anthony Richardson can look like with a full season under his belt.
That's like, if you had to say like unknowns, it's that because you saw just a little bit of Richardson, but
what you saw was fantastic. What we saw from Richardson last year early.
Such a small sample, though.
Right, but it was like, oh boy, this guy could be a problem just because of how freakishly athletic he was.
Well, that's I go back to these scouts and all these apartments and the millions that go into scouting. And someone decided Bryce Young was better than C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson.
Right. Yeah. And then my third team will be featured on Hard Knocks, and that's all I have to say about that.
But you're not excited. You're who cares? You're downplaying everything.
On Hard Knocks?
Or on the Bears in general.
No, the Bears in general, I am excited. I'm allowed to be excited.
So then why not tune in?
To Hard Knocks?
Yeah.
Because I don't subscribe to Max. I'm sorry. Is it HBO or is it Max? I don't know.
It's
the
Max.
geniuses.
It's Max.
Yeah, I don't subscribe to Max. I'm not about Wizards and Dragons and Game of Thrones. It's not worth it to me.
You're not into the Sex and the City reboot.
No, I'm good. I've watched The Sopranos twice, completely through in my lifetime. I'm good. I've got it down. I'm not gonna fork over for another subscription. Peter, by the way, also mentioning the deal that got him, and I got the email for it too. Peter, you're not alone. You're not special, pal. Let me tell you, Peacock, they really want you. If you're like me and you had Peacock for that 1 month just so you could watch the Bills and the Chargers, they want you back. How about $20 a month? Could you afford $20 a month to add another streaming service to your platform? Nah, I'm good. I'll wait until I have to, and then we'll probably go through this process again. I'm not going to subscribe to Max just to watch Hard Knocks, Gino. No. Not
and then you'll see some highlights and some things that'll make you laugh. I mean, they're going to hook you in, but I think the point is, though, it's a show that, as football fans, was once must-see television because every team now puts out content, and your favorite team, you can go search for it. You really don't need it. To me, I forgot about. Did we debate once who should be the team on Hard Knocks? No.
I don't even remember who was our team last year in Hard Knocks. Right.
Who was it?
Right.
I couldn't tell you.
I forget. Completely forget. It's a zero. It's giant Francesa.
Washington?
Oh, who cares?
I don't know, man. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Now I got to look it up. We got to see who it was. Who was 2023 Hard Knocks?
I'm going to say Washington. Let's show you New Washington. Everything fine. Ron Rivera, follow him around. Mike Danger typing away here in the sports bar.
You know who it was?
No idea.
They were in the division.
Miami?
No, it was
Jets.
It was Rodgers and the Jets.
Gosh.
You had the big offseason acquisition of Aaron Rodgers. They featured him in Hard Knocks, and we
didn't care.
We completely forgot. It doesn't matter. That's my whole point. Nobody cares.
Oh, who cares?
Oh, you drafted Caleb Williams. Oh, he's this generational quarterback. Let's feature. Nobody cares. I'm a fan, and I don't care. I do not care. It's a zero to me. So.
And I subscribe to Max. Like, why am I wasting money?
Right. Exactly.
Why?
Right. We got a couple of game fives tonight.
We do. Boy, this Rangers-Panthers has been just as advertised, has it not?
It's been a great series. Yeah. Tim, one of our coworkers, big Rangers fan, and he's nervous. Feels like the ice is tilted.
All right, timeout. Any fan, if your team is still alive, how are you not nervous? You're uber confident? I talk to Celtic fans who every night they think that this guy is going to. This is the life cycle of a fan this time of year. We forgot. So, yes, Tim is nervous, but so is everyone.
We're in barf, cry, and die season. If you're a fan of a team that is still playing. And he's not wrong. Like, the ice has been tilted in Florida's favor. It really feels like it's been a lopsided series, yet it's tied at 2. My whole thing with this series, and if the Rangers power play looks the way it looked in game 4, if they can look like that, it's almost as if Pekka is coaching them like, nope, not fast enough. Faster, at my tempo, faster. Because they move the puck with such tempo, with such ease, it's impossible to defend. They're going to win the cup if they get those opportunities. And I know that the power play was a little bit sleepy for the Rangers early in the postseason. It looked good in game 4. They just didn't get enough opportunities. Florida was disciplined enough not to get in the box. If they get a couple calls, if the Rangers get a couple calls at home tonight, then I'll give it to the Rangers tonight. Get that edge, 3-2.
Florida going back into the lineup tonight. Kyle Oposo.
Oh, he looks as slow as he's ever looked. He was out of place on one of the goals against for not necessarily out of place, just late to the action, late to the play. Behind it, slow. There's a part of me that wants that guy to get an opportunity, because he's been in the league for so long and he endured so much. He endured so much. What do you mean he endured so much? What, playing in Buffalo is some kind of prison sentence? In the NHL, I think a lot of people view it as a prison sentence. So let's make sure he gets an opportunity. He doesn't really factor in too much, I don't think, into Florida winning or losing that series. I mean, he could be a liability. I'll put it that way. If he's out there, he's a liability, in my opinion. And then the Wolves are going to continue to try and make it a series tonight, hosting the Mavericks. The Mavericks can close them out and get to the finals for the third time in their franchise history, solidify a date with Boston, which that series would get underway a week from tonight. Correct?
Yeah, got to wait a little bit. June NBA, that always feels right to me. And it used to wrap up by Father's Day this year. If it goes to 7, it'll be the week after. So
we're looking forward to that. Tomorrow on the show, we'll talk some MLB with our buddy Jim Riley from the Barreled Up podcast, the Odyssey exclusive in the free-to-download Odyssey app. Oh, and one of our buddies is stopping by the studio as well. Former RIT goalie Mike Rotolo is going to stop. I love that.
Yeah, the pride of Greece. Invited in Mike for a few reasons to talk hockey, but he loves himself some Yankee baseball. Look, do you know how good their starters are?
Yeah.
That's 15 straight games that they've gone beyond 5 innings.
Yeah.
I didn't know that in this day and age you could do that, and they're doing it without Garrett Cole.
Yeah. That'll be fun. Dav Rotolo in studio. Do we need to bring anything? Should we get some cold ones? Maybe we should get some cold ones for Rotolo. Well, we are the
Friday,
it's a Friday. We are the sports bar. We know it'll be a ghost town here.
I was just going to say, we're going to be the
only ones here. Yeah. Oh, it's summer hours, so all the offices close early, right?
Yeah.
That includes our office, even though there's nobody here on Friday because it's not a quote-unquote team day.
The morning shows are here.
Morning shows are here. They cut out by midday, and then, it's Gino and I in the afternoon. Now, we could sneak in a six-pack.
If we did that, is that the last time we're doing that in these studios? We're moving studios.
Oh, right. Yeah. New digs, new equipment, new everything for us.
Modern TV.
Big modern flat screen TV.
Wow.
Really don't know what to say about all of this. I'm overwhelmed, overcome with emotion. That'll be tomorrow's show. Let's get to a round of shots next in the sports bar.
Yeah, so we will talk more about these games tonight. Why, Minnesota, don't rule them out just yet. I think that that is something that, you can watch tonight here for sure. The NHL, we have an ongoing story here about Juan Soto and his pending free agency. Now both sides starting to dig in, and it's only the month of May. Oh, and an update on Rory McIlroy. How long did it take for one side to kind of put their story out? Rory on the course today, but we'll talk to about Rory off the course.
Okay, that's coming up with a round of shots. Last call before we close up shop at 6 o'clock as well. If you want to have the final word in the sports bar, the number to call is 585-866-4FAN, 866-4326.
update.
Couple game fives tonight in the NHL at MSG. It's the Rangers and Panthers. In the NBA, it's Dallas and Minnesota. Jason Kidd, the head coach of the Mavericks, on what needs to happen.
We got to figure out how to slow these guys down. We got a responsibility, we got a job to do, and that's, to find a way to win in Minnesota. This is a great opportunity for us as a young team to go through this. This is a new group going against one of the best teams in the league.
Nice crowd today for the Rochester Red Wings, over 9,000, and the Wings win 6-3. Starting pitcher DJ Hers striking out 10. Wings now 2 games above 500. On the Major League scoreboard, the Cubs fall to the Brewers 6-4. Twins over the Royals 7-6. Astros are up on Seattle 3-0 in the bottom of 5. Yankees tonight playing the Angels on the road. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
The only way to take the Fan Rochester with you is the free Odyssey app. Download it today and follow the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Yeah, it's fine. We won 3 games. It's first, like I said, it's 1st to 4. No matter if you win in 4 or in 7, you just gotta win 4.
Luca.
Thank you, Luca.
Luca giving his thoughts on tonight's game 5.
That was the first loss Kyrie ever had in game 4, where he had a closeout game, the 15-1 all time in his career. And Kyrie has certainly been something for this team. But how many times have we ruled out Minnesota this postseason? They've won 3 elimination games already this year, including game 4. They had to come up with another one tonight, trailing 3-1. Now, what worked for the Wolves in game 4? Well, the answer's simple. It was the stars. Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns outscoring Luka and Kyrie 54-44. Ultimately, though, teams that go up 3-0 in a best of 7, 155-0 in NBA history. Who, I might add, Danger, the 1952 Rochester Royals are up 3-0, and they lost next 3 to the Knicks.
Who?
Yes, and then the Royals won the championship. 8:30 for the coverage tonight on TNT.
Say it again. Remind me again. So you say that the Rochester Royals, we had a baseball team? What are you talking about?
We had an NBA team named the Royals. They're in Sacramento now.
Oh.
You can look all this up and read.
When did
all
that
about
happen?
The 1950s, and they moved out.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know that checks out, Gene. I'm going to have to check my sources on that one.
Okay. You do that. Both the conference finals in the NHL tied at 2 games each. Edmonton bouncing back. They were down 2-0 last night, scored 5 in a row. They beat Dallas 5-2. Now, tonight it's the Panthers and Rangers at MSG. And as good as the Rangers' power play is, ultimately, this comes down to Igor Shesterkin, the goaltender, facing 77 shots combined in games 2 and 3. The pivotal game 5 tonight.
Pivotal!
8 p.m. on ESPN.
Shesterkin has been fantastic. He is so good. He's the reason why this series isn't over. And the Rangers, if they steal one at home tonight, if they can get that power play clicking the way it was looking in game 4, I give them a chance at home. Even though Florida looks like they're the better team, man, me and Dan DeLorean were talking before we got on the air about a guy that, very quietly is one of the best players in the league, and that's Alexander Barkov of the Panthers. He's team captain, but he's not a guy that gets a lot of credit for what Florida is. Think about the fact that you had a 50-goal scorer in Sam Reinhart this year for the Florida Panthers. And what unlocked that? It wasn't that Sam Reinhart all of a sudden got really... He's always been good.
But didn't he play on that line with Eichel all his time here?
Right. But he never scored 50 goals. It wasn't like Eichel was set. Barkov makes Reinhart that much better. So many power play goals where Barkov's setting him up. Like, Barkov is a really, really good player. Very quietly, like one of the best players in the NHL that nobody really talks about. And if they do advance... that's a guy that's hard not to root for. I really think that Barkov is a special player.
We are months away from Major League Baseball free agency. I feel even kind of dirty bringing it up, but this is the story. A lot of rhetoric surrounding New York Yankee outfielder Juan Soto. It's already begun. Yankee owner Hal Steinberg making a comment that raised, eyebrows here, that his team's payroll was not sustainable. That comment... Yeah. Clearly catching the attention of many, including Agent Scott Boras, who represents Soto, in comments to The Athletic, Boras calls his client a centurion, meaning when his career is over, he's going to be one of the 100 best ever to play the game. Boras, quote, a centurion on a team would thereby make the team worth billions more. Soto currently the betting favorite, by the way, to win the league MVP at plus 225.
Pay the man. If you're a Yankee fan, you're paying the guy, right? You got to pay him.
Well, you just got done paying Judge, and you got Cole, and you still have Stanton on the book. So how many big-ticket item things? What will help Yankee fans, ironically, is Uncle Steve over across the river there in Queens, basically. Like, will Steve Cohen kind of stick his nose in there? I know, and we don't need to talk about the Mets. Yes.
You don't want to talk about the Mets? I mean, there was some news last night.
There was? And we go to other news.
Carlos Mendoza said that he understands the emotion, but that particular action of throwing your glove into the stands was unacceptable. Looking back on it, do you regret doing that?
No. No, I don't regret it. I think I've been looking the worst teammate probably in the whole MLB. So, whatever happened. So, whatever they want to do. I'll be tomorrow here if they want me, whatever they want to do. So I'm going to keep doing this thing, so I'm healthy on whatever, on whatever to do. I'm ready to come back tomorrow if they want me to be here, so I'll be here.
Spoiler alert, they do not want you to be here.
He's saying I'm the worst teammate, but he's mumbling through that.
I don't know. I think he's saying he's on the worst team in MLB.
That's what I hear too.
Yeah.
But because he's not enunciating his words, if you want to say teammate, okay. Do you feel bad for throwing? No, I don't. Okay,
that right there is enough.
Okay, that's it. You're gone.
That right there is enough. Him saying he's on the worst team or he is the worst teammate, that's just the cherry on top. But him doubling down and saying, no, I have no regrets. I wanted to throw my glove because I'm that frustrated. You have no, you just don't have a calm head. You have to be able to say, he's the manager and the emotions got the best of me. I wish I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, well, listen, the manager should be fired at this point. Like, honestly, get rid of everybody on this team. We don't need to talk about the Mets anymore. Are you happy, everybody? I am a very, very sad Met fan.
That was when you thought you hit the low point. It actually got lower.
It amazingly got lower.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's going to get lower because I have a feeling like it'll be the month of December, and hey, it's Mike Danger. I'm here for the Ticks of the Year, and boy, here's a guy who said he played on the worst team in baseball.
Are we nominating Jorge Lopez?
Yeah. How could you not?
We're nominating him for Take of the Year.
Your career, you just took out your own career. Cut hours after.
No
that.
regrets.
No regrets.
Yeah. Okay. We've he's got the official nomination. We've nominated Jorge Lopez for Take of the Year.
What else do we have in the Take of the Year?
Oh man, I've got some.
Well, I know which one would be in the because like the Mets aren't going to Cancun, right?
No, Barkley on the end of the season for the New Orleans Pelicans, their postseason collapse is I would say maybe a leader at the clubhouse.
Disappointed in New Orleans. Where they going, Chuck? Galveston? That dirty ass water. We're not even gonna send them to Cancun. We're gonna send them to Galveston with that dirty ass water be washed up on the shore. You people think they're in the beach. Y'all look at it.
Yo, people think you're at the beach. That's good. We can't. I mean, he's the GOAT for a reason. What about Mike Francesa talking about Aaron Rodgers getting some offensive line help in New York?
Oh, gosh, I forgot about this.
I'm sure Rodgers is going to want to get Bacteria involved, but you know what? Bacteria is a guy who has been ravaged the last couple of years by injuries.
Yeah, that great lineman, David Bacteria.
Yeah.
I knew him from Green Bay.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, we got some good ones. There's, I mean, we don't. I'm not going to give you the Ryan Hickey trade Josh Allen take. A very divisive take, to say the least. Alex Murillo, Phoenix Coyotes.
Oh,
look at it and we'll address it immediately. Just give me a chance to breathe a little bit. It's been very, like Gary said, it's been overwhelming.
Like, you're moving the team. Hey, simple question for people that put down deposits on season tickets. Give me a minute.
Yeah. Gary Bettman, the commissioner, is sitting next to him, and I just need some time here. I really give me a minute. I'm moving this team. I'm trying to remember Trent Baalke. Remember Trent Baalke? Oh, I know what this is. This might be, you know what? We forgot about this. This is in the shadow of Barkley to the Pels. You'll remember this one. This is Take of the Year nominee from Jaguars GM Trent Baalke.
We're not there yet. We still got a couple of days going through. Coach and I haven't sat down and gone through the final board yet. We'll do that on Monday.
Yeah.
No, the last one is added. By
yes, that was the Dandalorian Civil Edition. To not break stride, to absolutely...
No, but to own it.
Own it, apologize,
like,
and not even lose his train of thought.
Like, there are other great moments in sports fart history, like Jim Tomasula ripping one and just plowing on, and then, did he fart or not? No, Trent Baalke, I think, is the first one to rip and own it.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, that was some fantastic work by Baalke, Take of the Year nominee. All right, we got off track a little bit there.
I'm sorry. Canadian Open today. Well, we have your leader named Sean O'Hare, 7 under. Oh, look who's only 3 shots back. That would be Rory McIlroy, Canadian Open up in Hamilton. U.S. Weekly giving us an update into the saga off the course surrounding McIlroy. The publication reporting that McIlroy and CBS golf reporter Amanda Balionis are not dating.
Oh, yeah.
And that they have a, quote, professional relationship.
Yeah, sure.
I thought
professional relationship where they bang on the side. That's their professional relationship. Get out of here.
Amanda the homewrecker.
Right. Who gave that update? Who's the source on that they're not dating?
Source close to Rory, to Us Weekly.
Oh, Us Weekly.
Yes, that is a reliable source.
The credible rag, the celebrity rag, Us Weekly, making sure that everybody knows that they're not dating. Get out of here.
I thought it was humorous that these came from the Live Tour, the original story.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Rory expressing regret how he went after the Live Tour, almost to say, guys, please stop.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say another word. Please stop.
Yeah.
Let me have my reporter.
You have a professional relationship with Rory McIlroy.
Time out. You're a reporter. You don't have a relationship with anybody. You're just there to report. You're not supposed to be going out and having drinks or whatever. No,
it's a professional relationship. And maybe we do have drinks, and maybe he does give her a little inside scoop. You know what I mean, Gino? Huh? You know what I mean? Huh? Hi-oh! It's a gross story. He's dead to us. I hope he fails.
Dead.
Don't do that to a Ronda Quite royalty. How dare you?
Statement from Officer Brian Gillis. He was the cop involved in the Scotty Scheffler dust-up from a couple weeks ago. And it reads in part danger. And I'm like, why do you have to put out a statement? Yes, the department has us buying freaking $80 pants. I'm not censoring that. He really in this statement.
That's in his statement.
Freaking. To those concerned, they were indeed ruined.
Oh.
But Scotty, it's all good. I would never have guessed I'd have the most famous pair of pants in the country for a few weeks because of this. Take care and be safe.
So what happened? Because Scotty didn't stop, the pants got ruined, and the cop is mad? I don't understand.
A lot of people questioned like the whole thing, like, because why did you have to put that in the police report that a pair of pants were worth $80 were ruined? So a lot of people zeroed in on that, and this cop, I would have taken the high road. Just, you don't need to be putting out a statement. What are you putting out a statement
Well,
for?
because his spotlight is about to shift. I mean, like, he's got all the attention on him right now. He's got to maximize that attention while he has it, Gino.
I didn't know he was a social influencer.
No, he's absolutely got to make the most of it. I mean, he's thirsty like anybody. So his $80 pants are what makes him famous. Then he's going to continue to talk about his freaking $80 pants. That's shots in the sports bar. Last call is next. You can have the final say. Get the final word in before we let you know who's stopping by the sports bar to kick off your weekend tomorrow. 866-4326 is our number. 585-866-4FAN.
On the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Fun afternoon in the sports bar. AJ Cebulski, the Batavia Daily News, the Right Here, Right Now podcast, made his first visit into the sports bar, shared his thoughts on the Bills' OTA sessions from this week. If you missed that conversation, you can find it wherever you get your podcasts. We are in the free-to-download Odyssey app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Search out the sports bar. You'll find us. And if you missed any of the show, you can go back and listen with Rewind in the Odyssey app. That audio is available for you for the next 72 hours. Just go back and listen to any part of the show you may have missed.
Yeah, exciting night tonight in sports. A couple of Game 5s, Rangers and Panthers. That feels like that's going 7 here. Do we want the Timberwolves tonight just to kind of extend this a little longer?
I think the Mavs in 6 makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think Mavs in 6 makes a lot of sense. So I like Minnesota tonight. I like the Rangers tonight. Now, I'm hoping that you're not tailing me because my picks have been off. For me, when I see value, when I see a good team like last night, when I saw Dallas at plus money, I'm like, I got to take Dallas at plus money.
That was a surprising as anything. The Stars had a lead in this game.
That's right.
They're going to go back and they're going to wrap it up.
Right. I mean, the NHL was good to my bankroll all season long. And then I got to the postseason and value presents itself, and you just don't know, man. It's too hard to handicap. So, but we've got a couple of great Game 5s tonight, and tomorrow we're back to react to all of it, starting at 3:00. Joining us tomorrow in the sports bar, friend of the show, former RIT goalie Mike Rotolo stops by. That's our guy. You love that guy. I love that guy. Jeez. I've been following Rotolo on Rotolo on Twitter is a lot of fun. On X, I should say, is a lot of fun. Big Yankee guy.
Big Yankee guy. Big opinions. We'll get his take here on the Rangers Panthers game tonight, and also Edmonton and Dallas, which will be coming up on Friday. So Mike Rotolo also coming back in. Our buddy Jim Riley, where. Yeah, I don't know where the Mets kind of go from here, but the Juan Soto and the Hal Steinbrenner, we're not going to, all those comments about payroll. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, there's I mean, look, it's still early-ish in the Major League Baseball season. Riley covers it as good as anybody in the Barreled Up podcast and Ball Cap Sports on YouTube. And I want to get his thoughts on where some of these teams are, who's real, who's not, who could surge here through the summer. Who's positioned to do that? I mean, are the Yankees doing what they're doing? What's realistic? The Phillies, what's realistic for the rest of the season when you kind of try to project? Riley's great at all of it. He'll be stopping by at 4:25 tomorrow afternoon. Hope you enjoy your night. It's a nice one out there. Garage in my future. Screened-in garage in my future, Gino. Looking forward to some Game 5s.
Nice.
And looking forward to getting back in here and talking about it tomorrow afternoon with you in the sports bar starting at 3:00. Thank you so much for listening and watching on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're there. And stand by for the JR Sport Brief. It is next on The Fan Rochester.